terms of what we do and how fans treated it, the first Wednesday of February for years and years and years was nearly holiday-esque, and I was telling you, the planning that went into it from our point of view in terms of lining up guests and, working those guests around when you knew the coach was going to speak and those kind of things. And now it's just kind of like, oh yeah, the signing day in February.
So that happens when you oversaturate your market.
Yeah. I don't
limit your excitement.
I don't have a problem with moving the signing day up. In fact, I am not against what some have suggested, and that is go ahead and let these high school kids that are committed to you start signing as soon as the school year starts in August. If they want to sign, go ahead. Why not? Why not? If they're because as we've said, look, I know coaches in college are well compensated, certainly at this level, at least well compensated. But they're still humans with families and there is only a certain amount of time in a day, right? Like they don't live on a 30-hour day. The amount of money they make doesn't extend the time-space continuum for them, right? It should, but it doesn't. But so much of what they do, and I the easiest way to say it, Elijah, as you well know, is just like they got to babysit a bunch of recruits. And I don't mean that in a negative way towards the recruits when I say babysit, but I mean, hey, bud, you with us? Hey, bud, you with us? And of course, every other school is still out there coming for them. And if they're ready and they don't want you to call them anymore and they mean it and you still do, just let them sign. And that way they can stay after the ones that are uncommitted or mildly committed and not ready to put pen to paper or whatever. Right. So I don't know, but I do kind of miss it's just like nostalgia now to go back to the olden days of the February signing day. But we'll get into a few rankings.
Drama of a televised,
Shane and his team
signing day.
Yeah, Shane and his team doing well. Yeah, the hats. And I still remember, I forget the kid now, the mom that
wanted him to go to, I think, Alabama.
Yeah, he went to LSU.
Yeah, LSU or Florida, something like that. Yeah. I can't remember who it was, but
they're all standing around him,
and they're all pumped. Yeah. Everybody's pumped in there and all mind blown because he must have pulled a fast one. And then she's sitting there mad, the only person mad in that building.
Yeah. So you always listen. You can't let mom tell you where to go, but you do probably need to let mom in on it.
Yeah, I would say so. Because if that was the case, my mom would have been furious.
Yeah,
my ass would have been beat.
So we'll touch on some of those things. Joe Rexroad of The Athletic will join us coming up in just a little bit. We'll primarily talk a little hoops with him. This weekend, we basically hit, for most schools at least, the halfway point of the conference season. Of course, it's been a horrible run for South Carolina to this point. And I know you, sir, have been doing a little bit more digging into some of the storylines around Carolina basketball in terms of what's gone wrong, what could be fixed. And at this point, like David Cloninger told us, even salvaging something for any kind of postseason run seems difficult. I suppose there's a scenario where you get to, I don't know if you could go, but even if, I hate to say this, but it feels like you got 10 games left. If you go 6-4, maybe you get an NIT opportunity,
which would be,
but going 6,
you would take after what we were experiencing this month.
But going 6-4 just feels almost not impossible, but certainly improbable.
Too tall a task, I would say. I think you would be considering that too tall a task, considering these 10 games. You're gonna have to play Texas A&M, which, if you control the boards, you're going to give yourself a chance. But like Kentucky on the road against that offense, Ole Miss, the way they've been playing, now you get them at home, maybe. Then you got to play Florida again, this time on the road. It's going to be a little different. LSU is probably the most winnable game, that and the Arkansas game at home. So you at least have a couple more winnable games. Like, it's not as strenuous of a stretch when you look at the games that are ahead in conference play. I think your worst stretch might be behind you already with the Mississippi State, Alabama, Auburn run, and then getting Florida, Mississippi State back-to-back as well. So your worst stretch is probably behind you, but at the same time, winning 6 of those 10 is a tall ask.
No,
I don't think it's impossible for you to get 4.
Right.
But 4 obviously isn't.
Yeah, but
cut
but 4
NIT
gives you,
even.
not, you're going to have a losing record at that point. It's been incredibly disappointing, and we all search for reasons why. And again, Elijah's been doing some research on exactly how to dig into the why. I think is that one way, at least, to say you've been working on that.
Yeah. I've been talking to some folks. Been obviously been covering this team pretty closely in terms of like the numbers and watching games, rewatching games, and trying to find exactly why this has kind of gotten to where it is. And there are a lot of different ways to look at it and break it down, but I think ultimately it does fall on one thing, and that's offense and offensive development.
Yeah, that's fair. I keep coming back to just very simple guard play from one year to another.
Yeah,
that's not the only thing, but I feel like that's the primary thing.
That's how your offense goes from 42nd in the country to end the season in offensive efficiency to 142nd. Yeah. I would say
that's a big drop.
2 reliable guards who are great facilitators and could create their own shot and shots for others, and not replacing them like for like is probably worth 100 spots in a ranking drop.
We'll touch on a few things around the NFL beyond the big game, including something that I heard this morning that I think is becoming a theme for the next week or so, and that is why so much hate toward the Kansas City Chiefs.
Want to get to the bottom of this?
Well, it is a fascinating tale, like from a sports sociology standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to somebody yesterday who I had not seen in a while, and big sports fan. And one of the things he said about him, he's like, I don't want to see any more cutaways of Taylor Swift. And I'm like, I get it. He goes, but my wife and daughter love it. And I'm like,
you just answered your own question,
you nailed
sir.
It, buddy.
You just solved the riddle yourself.
That's it. And for this game this weekend, newsflash, you're going to see her. And here's why. Roughly, I would say 20 to 25% of those that tune in to this game are not sports fans. They don't really care about football.
It's cultural.
It's a pop culture.
Yeah.
It's an annual pop culture event.
Yep.
Between commercials, halftime show, anthem singer,
Buffalo wings.
Parties, food, whatever. It's and it's great. We all love our whatever Super Bowl event we attend. Or at least we want to love it. Sometimes at the end of the game, you might not, especially if your team, say, gets beat by 40. But that's a whole other.
See, that's why, for me, my favorite team's only been in one ever, and they won it. So for
nice.
all of them once in my life, I watched stress-free.
That's
and
nice.
The one that I didn't watch stress-free ended very well. And that to this day, still the best night of my life. Well, there's no close second.
My favorite team's been to 8. And when the first one they went to, I was little. I had just become a fan. I've told that story, but that one didn't really faze me as much. But the rest of them did.
The rest, the other losses hurt.
The rest of them were not fun. And 4 of the losses were
not close.
Were
embarrassing on a national stage.
It was quite horrible.
I can still see that ball going right through Peyton Manning's face in the instant moment of, oh, bleep, that's a safety.
It was quite horrible. Yeah.
First play of the game.
But we'll get into some of those things. And one of our great listeners and Twitter followers, Albert, hit me with an excellent thought exercise. Speaking of pop culture, and let me read it verbatim to give him full credit for the tweet here so I don't get it wrong. Let me go back and find this thing here.
Do not misrepresent him, please.
No, I don't want to do that. With it being Friday, he said to me on Twitter, a proposed fun random discussion for the show is the Stones 68 to 74 run, the Mick Taylor era, the greatest stretch by an artist in rock history. I say yes, even edges out anything from the Beatles, in my opinion. That's what Albert says. And I responded back to him and said, and that run, 68 to 74, 75, I think Ronnie Wood joined in 75, is simultaneous with the height of Led Zeppelin. Think about that. The height of the Stones and the height of Led Zeppelin run in parallel. The rise of Pink Floyd was happening then. Really good times. But the run of the Beatles was prolific.
It was. You could put both of those up there, with Mozart and Guar, two very ssimilar artists who had great runs in their day.
I don't think Guar's hit their peak yet, man. I don't know they've had their best years.
Well, because it hasn't ended. It's happening.
Yeah. I mean, we're in it. We're living it.
We are living in
Guar's world.
Continuous greatness.
And we just live in it.
More like, God, what awesome ruckus.
But if you'd like to weigh in on that, please do. 803-404-6100 on the text line, or better yet, hit us on Twitter. That would be a lot of fun.
Yes.
Get into a little bit of developing news around the House NCAA settlement on the other side. Something that just came down. You're listening to the Postgame Show.
The Game Network in Columbia.
107.5 The Game.
In Florence.
100.5 The Game.
In Myrtle Beach.
100.3 The Game.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV.
Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality.
The Game TV. 107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20K off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
Host your next event at Hilton Garden Inn downtown for a seamless and memorable experience. Whether it's a corporate meeting, training session, family reunion, or wedding, their flexible meeting space can accommodate up to 320 people and is equipped with top-notch audiovisual equipment. With on-site catering services, you can focus on your event, while Hilton Garden Inn takes care of the rest. Contact the sales department at 803-227-3400 to book your event and enjoy the comfort, convenience, and hospitality of Hilton Garden Inn, Columbia downtown.
10 years ago, who could have predicted what the internet would bring? Streaming videos, voice assistants, smartphones, smart homes, work from home. But here we are, wondering what the next 10 years will bring. Whatever it brings, Lumos 100% fiber optic internet is ready with incredible speeds and reliability. So you can do more and be more than you ever thought possible on the internet built for the future. Plans start at $50 per month. Learn more at lumosfiber.com/next.
South Carolina Ballet presents Romeo and Juliet on February 8th at the Koger Center in Columbia. The greatest love story the world has ever known, featuring live music by the South Carolina Ballet Orchestra, conducted by Scott Weiss. Tickets are available now. Visit KogerCenterForTheArts.com or call 803-251-2222. Hope and despair, tragedy and love. South Carolina Ballet's Romeo and Juliet.
Wow, 2024 flew by, but I am sure ready for 2025. My favorite way to start the new year is to make my home feel like new with Zerorez carpet and air duct cleaning. Only Zerorez uses their advanced patented process with ZR water for a superior, long-lasting clean. Right now, get 3 rooms cleaned for only $119 plus. Mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get a hallway cleaned for free. Easily schedule your cleaning online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
Is your child struggling in school? Do you know a student 16 to 19 years of age who has dropped out, lacks discipline, or is on a destructive path? Then give the Will Lou Gray Opportunity School a try. The military-style school provides an alternative education to young adults in need of a second chance by offering academic instruction by state-certified teachers and job-based training. Students live on campus during the 14-week program, which is virtually free. For more information, contact 803-896-6480 or at willougray.org.
Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass.
Hardee's is adding the goodness of maple flavor to our menu with new maple biscuits drizzled in sweet icing or stacked with savory sausage. Plus, our new cherrywood smoked maple candy bacon is perfect on a breakfast biscuit, Frisco burger, or its own. For a sweet spot in your day, maple makes everything better at Hardee's. And now enjoy breakfast till noon every day. Available for a limited time at participating locations. Breakfast hours vary by location.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line, 803-404-6100.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence. The Postgame Show with Jay Phillips and Elijah Campbell.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
20 minutes after 3 o'clock here on a Friday afternoon. Welcome back into the postgame show. Jay Phillips, Elijah Campbell. We are broadcasting live from Pro Swing.
Elijah Candle.
That sounds fun. I was just looking at Dan Murphy, so I don't know how that came out of my head.
Wow, that's hopefully a good smelling one.
Potentially.
What does an Elijah Candle smell like? Like Old Spice. Great coconut scented shampoo.
Sure. Anyway, let's just move on. How you doing?
Fantastic.
Good.
Apparently smelling great.
Good. We are
I'd have
live.
to start my own line.
We are live at Pro Swing on Forest Drive here on this Friday, day 2 of the inaugural winter. Are we calling it? We need to have something really cool and fancy. We should have made Geddes come up with something. I think it's the Winter Golf Classic. Is that what we're?
Okay, I like Winter Golf. Wow, Winter Golf Classic. It's contagious.
It's
contagious.
I mean,
It's kind of like the it's flu season. Stuff's been going around. People been getting sick. You gave me whatever it is you had.
You don't want it.
I don't.
Anyway, let's get to
Winter Golf Classic.
A little bit of breaking news from Dan Murphy of ESPN, the aforementioned writer of this story. Today was the deadline for any objections to be filed in the House versus NCAA settlement. This, again, Judge Claudia Wilkins' courtroom out in California. While Dan reports that the deal is still likely to be approved, there is now the potential of it being delayed. And I'll read verbatim here. Any significant delay in the settlement could create a new wave of uncertainty and chaos for college athletic departments who have made plans to begin paying athletes this summer. Many of the contracts athletes have already signed would allow the schools to back out of paying players if the settlement is not approved. Some states have passed laws that would clear the way for their schools to start paying players even if the settlement fails, which could give them an advantage in recruiting or retaining athletes. I'll be honest with you, I don't know if South Carolina's law allows for that. Do you remember if it does? We need to look that up. The objections that have been filed include claims that future limits on how much schools can give to their athletes create a new illegal cap, violating the same laws that prompted these cases to be filed. Another objection claims that the $2.8 billion in damages is too low, and the formula used to distribute that money is unfair to female athletes, walk-ons, and others. Another objection is a clause that places a limit on team rosters could eliminate thousands of opportunities for athletes to play at the D1 level in the future. Another is alleged conflicts of interest for plaintiffs' attorneys, including a clause that obligates them to, quote, use reasonable efforts to support the NCAA lobbying in Congress for a new law limiting future antitrust challenges on spending limits established through the settlement. You and I have talked a lot about this over the last several months because, to me, and I know you agree as well, while we all want to talk about what's happening on the field in a game, on the court in a game, whatever, and that's our primary objective and our primary focus, this is going to shape those men and women that are performing on fields and courts. And this does matter a lot. And here in Columbia, as an example, when we follow the University of South Carolina is in a fantastic conference. The University of South Carolina is doing very well financially. but we're not naive to the point to think that even South Carolina can just go out there and day by day compete directly financially with some of its brethren in the SEC. And look, even schools like Tennessee or Georgia can look west to Austin and College Station and go, dang,
that's a lot of money,
And so that's not to say but the point is, these things are really going to matter from a financial standpoint. And if you keep having lawsuits and you keep as this article says, the chaos, the uncertainty, the wild, wild west feeling out there, does that, I don't know if it hurts South Carolina any more than anybody else, but it's just a matter again of retention. Well, hey, listen, some of those schools don't have what we have, buddy. So you come on over here, you'll be fine. I don't know, but until there is certainty, it's harder to navigate. And at the same time, you and I have talked about this, and we've talked with a couple of lawyers and read a bunch of things that we've cited on the show. You can't just put a cap on something that half the people don't have a say in.
Right. Yeah.
That's why
it all goes back to the necessity for
let me read it again here. It claims that future limits on how much schools can give to their athletes creates a new illegal cap, violating the same laws that prompted these cases to be filed. That's one of the objections that Judge Wilkin has to deal with. And I'll be very curious to hear how she deals with this and what it is that she says. Because if she says, you really can't, even if y'all agreed to it, someone else can come in that wasn't a part of this and sue you. There could be right now, Elijah, there could be a 16-year-old high school sophomore. And 4 years from now, when that high school sophomore is a college sophomore and his or her school is, quote, limited in terms of what they can pay, that when that 16-year-old currently was like 12 is when these negotiations started, 13. He or she wasn't any part of that.
Nope.
And you just go get a lawyer who stands in front of a judge and goes, Your Honor, my client didn't have anything to do with that settlement. My client wasn't asked. My client didn't have any way to talk about it, but my client is now potentially being harmed because of it.
And then we're back where we started. I mean, it will create an endless loop.
Yeah.
Of getting back to where we started and being in those same courtrooms.
And I actually had a conversation with somebody we talked a lot about collective bargaining. Well, what about if somebody wasn't a part of a union or any group when a collective bargaining agreement was signed? Well, that's different because you will agree. Like, for instance, a college player right now, any of these guys in the draft, they are not currently members of the NFLPA, but they will become members of the NFLPA. And the NFLPA, before they sign, will let them know, hey, by the way, here's the agreement.
Yes.
So it's that you can head that off at the pass. But when there is no agreement, this is simply a settlement. That's the one that worries me the most.
Right. Well, yeah. And because we think they can survive the House one, right? Like the House settlement is something I think every school is prepared for, and I think they'll be able to handle. But how are they going to handle the next one? And there's still more other lawsuits too. I mean, that we haven't discussed in a long time that are like back pay lawsuits, like because House is like what, 15 years?
Yeah.
Well, there are a lot of college athletics that
It'll
made
go
a lot
10.
of money.
Well, Jeremiah was telling us if it goes in, even when it finally gets enacted, yes, it'll run for 10 years.
Yeah, and the settlement will go to the money for players that have played in these sports the last 10.
Yeah.
But these schools are making money on athletics longer than just 10 years.
Yeah. So
I mean, how many times do we talk about past college sporting events from the aughts or the 90s or the 80s? They all have rightful claims to it too. It's the exact same claim, fewer in dollar amount.
I think she has. I think that one's troubling, man. That one's.
But hasn't she? And correct me if I'm wrong. Hasn't she suggested that before?
Yeah.
Like has already said you need to collectively bargain to avoid keep coming back to me because I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
And it has used the term like collective bargaining before.
So. And
at that point, how many times are you going to keep ignoring the signs and acting like you can't read?
Well, they just don't want to do it. and that's going to be the trick. We'll come back on the other side. Joe Rexrode, covering college sports, football, and basketball for The Athletic, will join us. Talk a little hoops. Might get into a little bit of what he thinks on some of this. Joe will join us on the other side. We are live at Pro Swing on Forest Drive. Come say hey. We're here till 6. They're here till 10. You're listening to the Postgame Show.
From the Midlands to the PD to the beach.
The Game Network.
Here's what's coming up on the game.
The Schroeder's Towing Roadshow rolls on to Pro Swing Golf, 4708 Forest Drive in Columbia, this Thursday and Friday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Broadcasting live from the first annual Pro Swing Golf Classic.
Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Big football game coming up here in just a little over a week's time, and you can enjoy it better than ever before with my friends over at Prize Picks. Look, Prize Picks is a pretty simple game. You pick more or less on at least 2 players from different teams and their stat projections, and you can win up to 100 times your cash. And Prize Picks is even helping you celebrate the big game with a free square of their own. So when you make your lineup, you can include Patrick Mahomes more than 0.5 passing yards, because I think we all like his chances to get more than 0.5 passing yards. I think that one, I think Jay feels pretty confident about that one as well. But Saquon Barkley rushing yards, Jalen Hurts passing yards. How many yards is Travis Kelce going to receive for? I think his projection is like 72.5. I might like less on that one, but the choice is yours. Download the app today. Use promo code 1075game, and you can get $50.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, the ultimate lunch lineup boasts wall-to-wall sports and scenic views. When you're hungry and in a hurry, the Scratch Kitchen delivers lunch in the clutch. I mean, where else can you order a 29-degree draft beer and a quickie combo on your lunch break? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
Langston Moore here. You know, a former Hall of Fame coach used to say all the time, it doesn't matter if someone graduates from medical school with all A's or all D's, they still get called doctor. Don't just trust anybody with your roof just because they have the title roofer. Trust us, the Roofing All-Americans. They've been in business for over 25 years in the roofing and construction biz. They know what it takes to score you that beautiful brand new roof. With their transparent pricing, prompt service, attention to detail, Roofing All-Americans, they're the best in the business. The same things that made these guys the best in the business when it came on the gridiron, it makes them the same things that make them the best in the business when it comes to your replacing and repairing your roof. So Roofing All-Americans is your go-to when you need that beautiful brand new roof. So give us a call today at 803-250-1395. That's 803-250-1395 or Roofing All-Americans, or check us out on the web at roofingallamericans.com. That's roofingallamericans.com.
Hey, y'all, Jay Phillips here from my good friends at Dan's Fan City in Harbison. Ceiling fans don't sound like something you think about a lot because you don't really need to, but when you've got good ones, they work so well, keeping energy costs down and your comfort level up. All kinds of fans at Dan's Fan City, big to small and quiet. Quality fans. They have accessories and light kits, fan blades, and more. Stop by and see them soon. Harbison Boulevard next to Total Wine, or call Dan's Fan City 781-FANS. You'll be glad you did.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass.
Are you ready for football? Let's go. Truly ready for football? Yes. Are you screaming for football?
What the hell is happening?
Dreaming for football.
Good times.
Eating, sleeping, crafting, parenting, naming your pets, and preparing for football.
That sort of stuff happens. Oh, my goodness.
Are you dancing, jonesing, Mahomesing for football?
That's what I'm looking forward to seeing.
Good. Then you are ready for football. with the Rich Eisen Show podcast.
They're ready.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
What you're talking about
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
on the Game Network.
Time to talk a little hoops and more. Our buddy Joe Rexroad covering college sports for The Athletic and an old friend of Elijah Campbell's from Music City, USA.
Unfortunately for him.
Well, I wasn't going to say that, but I'm glad you did. Joe, how you doing? Happy Friday, man. Good to have you back.
Oh, hey, I miss Elijah. I don't have any other, hoops junkies at the station anymore. So I miss you, Elijah. Come back.
No, he's not coming back. And I have also fallen for his excellent deep dives into the sport. He's been very good for us, sir. So
junkie is a way of putting it, man.
Yeah,
but we watch a lot of hoops around these parts.
On that note, I want your take. I know you're, a couple hours away, but let's start here in Columbia for just a second. What a dichotomy of years between what happened last year where South Carolina sort of just took the conference by storm to what you're seeing now. And I want to lay out a scenario for you and see how much you may agree with this. I think back to, football coaches and like year 3 for Shane Beamer here, Joe, and I know you cover football very well too. Year 3 was a real hiccup year. You had gone to bowls the previous 2. You had some nice seasons. And then year 3 was sort of a reality check. The year 4, obviously, was very good for South Carolina football. This is year 3 for Lamont. Are you looking at a year 2 that was, much better than people thought? Year 3, is this also a potential reality check? Or is there something else that you might see at work here in Columbia when it comes to the Gamecocks?
That's a good question. I think first of all, any questions like that with any program, they're harder to answer now, right? I mean, they just are, because it's a sport where you can change so quickly from year to year. In some cases, you have to change so much from year to year. Just the nature of the game now. I mean, I look at Missouri too, right? Like just absolute. Right. Incredible year, terrible year, incredible year. That's what they're on right now with Gates. So I think Lamont Paris is a good coach, and I think maybe there's some regression. But I swear it's like I've watched a lot of these games, and my goodness, first of all, like the turnovers are crazy at times, and obviously there's some self-inflicted wounds and some things happening that are just really unfortunate. Also, I mean, how many of these games could they have won? So many of them, So I still think it's a decently constructed team that obviously doesn't have all the pieces in place and is just losing all these close games. And of course, last year I feel like that team won a lot of them. So I don't know. I just don't think it's the time to panic. I think he's a good coach. I also think that this team at some point is actually going to get some of these folks too. I think they're too good not to, but I would not be selling my stock right now. I think I'd be holding.
Yeah, and you mentioned the close losses, man, and compared to what happened last year where, you benefited from a lot of those. And one point I've made a lot too is that, if you look at a lot of the metrics, this team rates out as a slightly above average to average Power 4 conference team, but the league that you're in now is anything but brutal. Average to slightly above average. It's brutal. This is the worst year to be in a slightly above average to average Power 4 college basketball team in the SEC. You can get away with that a couple of years ago. Can't get away with that now, because I do genuinely believe there's about 5 or 6 teams in this league that can win the national title.
Yeah, exactly. It's just absolutely relentless. I mean, and again, like that. I mean, that Auburn game. I mean, that's Auburn is, it's the best team to me in college basketball. And I understand that Janai Broom got hurt that day and all that stuff, but like you're right there with a chance to beat that team. The Vanderbilt loss probably felt like a bad loss at the time, but it's not. It's a good team on the road. And Elijah and I were texting during that game, like, my God, these turnovers. But
25.
But I mean, again, the Florida game, Mississippi State game was a killer. It's just, so I don't know. It's just, you're right. It's just, your results are going to be skewed relative to what you actually are as a team in this league, unless you're at the very top of it, probably.
Talking to Joe Rexroad of The Athletic. Looking around the conference right now, you mentioned Janai Broome comes back. A nice win for them this week. We look up north of you to Lexington this weekend with Coach Cal's return. Kentucky beating Tennessee the other night is where I want to take you next, though. How big a statement was that at the midway point of the conference slate, in your opinion, for the Cats to go on the road and win that one?
It was a statement, but I think it's also part of an ongoing statement from Tennessee that it just doesn't have everything you need this year. So very impressed with the Cats doing what they did that night. They shot the heck out of the basketball. And this is still a team that, right now is not a great defensive team. They're 70th in KenPom in defensive efficiency, but they're 4th in offensive efficiency. They can shoot the heck out of it. And they did that without Lamont Butler and almost without Andrew Carr. So I'm really impressed with them. They're a super fun team to watch. They got to get better defensively if they really want to have a shot to do something here. But Tennessee, they're just it's tough to watch. Zakai Ziegler, who is a great player, and to me is an All-American level player if we're going to credit the defensive side of the ball with everything else, but he can't shoot. He can't hit a shot anymore. And I think maybe that's in his head a little bit, but I also think he has no legs. I mean, he has to do everything for that team. Last year, he could take some possessions off basically, and they'd give the ball to Dalton Connect, and he would rip off 15 straight points. And it's all on him now. And I don't think that they have I know that they were number one this year, but I think we're about to see Tennessee start to fade a little bit and maybe be more like a 4 or 5 seed kind of team. And I wasn't necessarily thinking that a couple weeks ago, but I think you're really starting to see a great job by them mucking up that game at Auburn. They almost stole it. But I think that they should be considered a cut below the very top teams in this league. And maybe that's a little negative compared to some people around here, but I really don't think they have everything you need.
Especially when you see what a team like Florida did to them, right? And I think that was really the first eye opener for me, and also tells me that this Florida team is legitimately national championship level good. That's one thing that I noticed. A, how many points they get in transition, and B, when you watch them in person, how fast they are at getting out in transition. I know the conversation in the SEC is centered really around Auburn, Alabama, Kentucky, but Florida, despite still being like a top 5 team, I think might be, maybe outside of Auburn, the best team in the league. And I think if they played today, that's a 2-3 point game.
I think you're right, Elijah. I think not enough people are talking about this team. I mean, they've got the shooting. They're bigs. They rebound the heck out of the basketball. Like you said, they run. I mean, you're talking about the 3rd most efficient offense right now, and they guard. I mean, they're a pretty complete team. I'm with you. Really looking forward to, like Auburn, Alabama coming up and things like that. But Florida, and by the way, Florida at Tennessee tomorrow in the early game is going to be interesting. Tennessee is going to be absolutely desperate and remembering the blowout. But man, I don't know that they match up. I would take the Gators in that game.
I think I do too at this point.
Well, I already complained, Joe, that I don't know why the decision makers in Bristol or Burbank put that one at noon tomorrow, but noon Eastern. But
we got to have the Cal game at primetime, though. We got to have that Cal game for primetime.
No, but
priorities.
But I'll also tell you that South Carolina, Texas A&M is at 8:30, so there's that. But again, you can't know all these things in advance. Speaking of Cal, going back to Lexington, I've never seen yet another former coach come out publicly with a statement to a fan base urging them to be nice. But Rick Pitino has done that for Kentucky folk. Does Rick have intel that Cal is just going to be mercilessly booed? I mean, I figure some people up there will be nice to him, right?
Or is Rick actually trying to guarantee he gets booed by everybody by putting out that statement,
4D chess.
I mean, yeah, because I don't think last I knew, Rick and Cal weren't like super tight, But no, that was interesting. And interesting some of the other stuff he said about how it like tore him up and everything. It's like, well, I'm sure it'll be a mix of reactions, right? I mean, look, Kentucky fans. If you're a Kentucky fan who remembers what the program was in the wake of Billy Gillispie when Cal took over, you probably should cheer the guy. And also, you should be happy with the way things have turned out, right? Like, actually kind of also cheering because thanks for taking that chicken money, and we really like the guy we got, even though we all bitched about him when he was hired.
Joe, last thing.
Like, be grateful for what you have.
Yeah. I got just under a minute left for you here. Arch Manning has been installed by one sports book as the Heisman favorite next year. Are we doing this right?
No. Can he play? I mean, I don't know. He can run. He's a good runner. That's what I know. And he has a great family. The whole thing, I mean, here, Titans laying here, they're all like, oh, we got to wait and get the number 1 pick next year and get Arch. I'm like, how do you even know he's an NFL quarterback? It's crazy, but this is how it's going to be. So I will be bated breath watching him with everybody else.
I'm sure we'll talk to you again about what the Titans might do from a football perspective, but I have it right here. Either trade it or get Abdul Carter. Don't do anything else. Trade it or get Abdul Carter. That's what the Titans need to do. So you can take that to whomever.
I like it.
Ms. Adams, whatever it is. What's her last name now? Strunk, right?
Strunk. Adam Strunk. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell her I said that's what they need to do. Yeah, there you go. Joe, appreciate you, man. We'll do it again soon. Enjoy the weekend.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
That's Joe Rexrode of The Athletic. We're live at Pro Swing. It's the postgame.
107.5 The Game.
In Columbia.
100.5 The Game.
In Florence.
100.3 The Game.
In Myrtle Beach. The Game Network. Everyone wants you to pay for their streaming app. You got to have this one. You got to have that one. Well, not us here at The Game. Why? Because we love you more than they do. Just go to iTunes or Google Play and download the 107.5 The Game app for free.
This is Bill Ryder with the Sports Minute. Cam Newton proclaiming on ESPN that he would never trade his MVP for a Super Bowl victory is the very reason he never got one. Jalen Hurts is one of the few quarterbacks to debut in a Super Bowl, not win it, and return. Why? Because the brutality of losing breaks most quarterbacks. And it clearly broke Cam Newton, who won the MVP that year but stormed out of the press conference when he lost the big game, is still holding on to delusion. I'm Bill Ryder.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So you've got an oil change coming up. We can help you save on the right oil for your vehicle. Right now, get 5 quarts of Castrol Edge Full Synthetic or Castrol Edge Full Synthetic High Mileage Motor Oil with an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for just $35.99. Visit one of our 6,000 stores or order from AutoZone.com for same-day store pickup or next-day delivery.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Injured in a car wreck? Need your check? It's easy. Dial 1-800-ALL-7s now.
The Anastapula Law Firm has been recovering millions for their clients for over 30 years. Whether it's a slip and fall, car accident, or any other issues that have resulted from an accident, Anastapula Law Firm can help. Their South Carolina personal injury attorneys have experience fighting for the rights of their clients. Remember, don't scream. Call Akeem. Dial 800-ALL-7s now.
Herb Glass is responsible for this ad, and cases are handled at 32 Ann Street, Charleston, South Carolina, 29403. Paid endorsement, not actually client. Results may vary.
In the U.S., more than 39 million men suffer from erectile dysfunction. Boston Scientific created edcure.com to help you find your best cure. To get started, go to edcure.com, take a quiz, and learn your severity or risk of ED. The fastest way to find your best cure is to contact an ED specialist by browsing a list of experienced physicians in your area. edcure.com. You're not alone. edcure.com is brought to you by Boston Scientific.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-455-8787. 800-455-8787. Again, that's 800-455-8787.
The Postgame Show with Jay Phillips and Elijah Campbell.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
11 minutes in front of 4 o'clock on this Friday afternoon. Welcome back in. Jay Phillips, Elijah Campbell broadcasting live from Pro Swing in Forest Acres. We're on Forest Drive, right next door. Same building, right next door to Bonefish, across the street from Lowe's Foods. Come say hey. Got some T-shirts. I was just talking to David and Steven here who are running the place today. Well, they run it all the time, but about to fill up in here, man. So
it's about to, yep.
The second wave will be hitting again. I think 8 or 9 under is the leader in the inaugural Pro Swing Winter Classic. Somebody's going to share $1,000 prize. Well, I say somebody because it's a 2-man team.
Yes,
or 2-person team. I don't want to be discriminatory.
There you go.
Especially
Look
as
at you,
husband and father of 4 daughters. But somebody's going to win. But there's a couple of slots left. I'll give you a phone number in a minute. You can call, or you can just come by here and say, "Hey, I want to take one of those slots." And then while you're here, get a T-shirt.
Yeah, because we got them. We still have a table full of 107.5 The Game T-shirts.
It's about a half dozen left, give or take.
Our merch is still there.
Sadly, all the Bill Gunner 8x10 glossy autograph photos are gone.
Those go by too fast. No, if you weren't here by 7 a.m., brother, they're gone.
Well, and
the calendars are gone too.
Really, really impressed.
Limited time though. Got to fork over some money for that.
Gunner made it to 2 remotes in a row.
Look at it. I'm proud of him.
Really impressed.
He even came by the studio afterward.
Get out.
I saw him at the office.
What did he forget?
Yeah, something. He had to have forgotten something. I was almost concerned.
Yeah, it's like he didn't want to. I promise you.
I had to make sure I wasn't sleeping or dreaming.
Joe makes a good point, and I to go back to the Carolina basketball discussion. Questions. I don't. Nobody's doing this really. I haven't heard it anyway. Nobody's questioning Lamont. I don't believe that's what's up. Like, man, is he the right guy? Sometimes with a coach in year 3, you might start to look around and go, oh.
Especially if you haven't seen any proof of concept by the time year 3 is done. And you've seen some proof of concept at least. Like last year isn't a total flash in the pan.
Well,
you had success.
You and I were talking about it, and I don't know that you can. Joe made a good point too about how quickly you can change things, and you can do the same thing in a relative sense in football or any sport now with the portal being what it is. But year 1 for any new coach, most of his or her roster isn't going to be his people, if you will. Year 2, a little bit different. Again, with the portal, it's like he had Michi, and then you added Talon, and you got some things going, and it became a really good season. Equating it to football, for Shane, again, most of the guys in year 1, not his. You win a bowl game. Year 2, you win even more games. You pull some big upsets, and you played well in your bowl. You couldn't stop the run ultimately, and you tried to pull out all the stops. But anyway, you had a good season.
Yeah, but didn't take away from what happened.
Year 3 was a regression, but was it a regression primarily based on the fact that you miss a recruiting year in a sense, right? Like you had an okay recruiting season, but finally when you get it going, and now here we are, year 4 for Shane, and I think you see the trajectory that this program can be on. Will they win 9 or 10 games, next year again? I don't know. We'll find out. Got a good team. So do other people. But for Lamont, is it the same thing in a principle kind of a way? Are we looking at that, or is the answer no, Jay? Because again, you could have gone and gotten another Talon or Michi, and you didn't. I don't know. I don't know if it's this. I don't know if I can apply the same logic to what's going on with Carolina basketball.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons why Carolina football feels so good too is because you are able to bring back your quarterback. That's why you're in all these way too early top 25s, because team was good. You bring the quarterback back, and you also bring back an edge rusher who will be arguably the best in the country going into next season, right? And if you have the quarterback and the person who rushes the quarterback, you're usually in a pretty good spot. That's a cornerstone, right? You're a cornerstone now because after last year, you knew you were bringing Colin back, which is exciting, which was, the exciting news to bring back somebody who will potentially be your leading scorer and rebounder, potentially an assist too. They could do everything type of player. And you just haven't been able to fill it up around him well enough. And he had some bad injury luck. But now that you're going to lose that cornerstone, it does feel a little more like an uphill battle than it would be with football, right? I feel like losing the cornerstone hurts. It keeps you more enthusiastic if you can keep the cornerstone from the previous successful season. So it really, you're going to be more Porter reliant, I think, this year than you will be at any time that he's been here.
I would agree. Coming up next hour, I mentioned a little bit about the Heisman odds. Arch Manning at number 1. Where is Lenore Sellers? Where is Cade Klubnik? We'll get into that for you and a few things going on around the NFL. So we'll do that. We are live at Pro Swing. Again, the evening wave is about to begin.
1075 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20K off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
And I love telling you about our great friends at Integrated Media.
They're the best.
They are the absolute best when it comes to home theater. And I don't know what I would do without them. I say that a bunch, and you might think, come on, Jay. I've had people ask me, hey, do you really like those guys, or you just talk about them? No, listen, they've changed our life. 8 years ago, we remodeled. I'd already been working with Integrated Media before that, but 8 years ago, we remodeled the house, and the boys came in completely, gutted, got it all in, and now I just can't imagine my home theater system being anything but what I have. And if you're ready to go next level, Integrated Media can make it happen for you. They make house calls, indoors, outdoors, one room, whole house, Wi-Fi that works everywhere, amazing HD technology, amazing sound. If you're working from home, gaming, whatever it is, they can get it done for you. 803-948-8327.
The 7th annual Driving Down Maine virtual golf tournament, hosted by United Way of the Midlands, is coming up on February 3rd and 4th at the Players Club on 1626 Main Street. Tee times are still available, with proceeds benefiting the Midlands Reading Consortium, a partnership between United Way and 18 Midlands elementary schools. Register your team now at uway.org/DDM to reserve your tee time. It's the United Way of the Midlands Driving Down Maine virtual golf tournament, February 3rd and 4th at the Players Club.
The best things never change, they just get better. Like Hardee's Original Bag, just $5.99. Choose from juicy charbroiled double cheeseburgers, melty hot ham and cheeses, or hand-breaded chicken tender wraps. 2 full-size favorites plus fries and a drink, all just $5.99. There's no skimping in this bag. No junior burgers or tiny nuggies, just full-size goodness for big-time value. The $5.99 Original Bag, only at Hardee's. These items only, tax not included. Price and participation may vary.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Now Taxes is using Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get your refund so you can do more with it right in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. See guaranteed details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
I'm with Jason Reynolds of the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm. Jason, why should someone injured on the job or in a vehicle accident consider your firm?
Well, we're not a huge firm with just a phone number and a website. When you bring your case to us, you actually meet with your lawyer. And when you call, you can actually speak to your lawyer. We also have a diverse team that understands you and where you're coming from.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
Powered by Integrated Media.
The Game TV, sponsored by Shepherd's Glass for auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com in Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV, sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
WNKT FM Eastover, Columbia, your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game, a Cumulus media station.
The Postgame Show with Jay Phillips and Elijah Campbell.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Hour number 2 of the post-game show, live here from Pro Swing. I'm Elijah Campbell. Jay Phillips, enamored with the golf simulator here, as anyone would be if they showed up in here.
I just want to. I'm sorry that I missed the open, but
that's what I'm here for.
No, I was talking to.
That's
David
called an offensive rebound putback.
Well,
it's a
they
tip
have,
dunk.
in addition to like golf like courses and simulations. I was asking him, are there like closest to the pin contest? Yes.
Oh,
he even said there's like
do a par 3 contest like they do at the Masters.
There's like arcade mode down at the. So I mean, here's the thing, and I mean this in a good way. This place is for your buddies. Like when you come out, it's like golf meets bowling in a way.
I have not thought of it that way, but I figured that is actually kind of accurate.
I mean, because let's face it. Look, how many times do you go bowling and you think, hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be on the pro tour. No, you're not. But do you want to go out and have a couple of beverages, and enjoy a couple of hours and have a good time? Yeah, and you can do it by playing around the golf, but maybe you want to just spice it up with, making a few, friendly wagers with your pals on closest to the pin contests and things like that. You don't get to just stop at the golf course and go, hey, group behind me,
play through.
Y'all, no, not even that. Like, y'all need y'all to wait. Everybody play through. We're doing it closest to the pin. Y'all just can't play this green. Sorry.
And you can pace this however you want.
And you can even at the range, like are you gonna go out there and find out on the range who got closest to a particular pin? While
you want a dodgeball flying everywhere? I would love to see someone try that.
Right. Like
these
are things that you can't do at the golf course on a regular basis. And again, I love golf. I don't play nearly as much as I used to, but you come do this. Again, grab a couple of cold ones and have some fun with it, man. So again, it's sort of like golf meets bowling at times. I can't think of it, or whatever arcade, and so this place is cool, man.
It's it is kind of like golf arcade.
Yeah. I mean, it's like video games meet real golf. I mean, but it's not a video game because it isn't a matter of you mastering, your thumbs and how quick you are with your PS controller or your Xbox controller. You got to swing a golf club, man.
I was a monster on the PSP of the Tiger Woods video game. On the PlayStation Portable, I mean, dude, I was a monster.
I
wasn't very good on the actual console.
Sega Genesis, PlayStation, Xbox. The latest version I have of a Tiger Woods game, because I just can't play video games as much anymore. I don't have time, but I do have like Tiger Woods, maybe 15, 16, one of the Masters editions,
back when they first came out. I haven't played any of the Masters editions.
I have like I don't know. They have Augusta on a few of them, and it's a really good one. In fact, I played it not too long ago. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to pull that thing out and play. And it was fun, man. But this is not that. This, you have to actually come swing a golf club.
This is actually closer to like the Wii, but like instead of, you know, the Wii controller, you have an actual golf club.
Yeah.
And you're hitting
well, it
golf
is.
balls.
That's fair. That's fair. But even then, you know, once you kind of master what the Wii, and look, and I've seen, I saw a friend of mine one time sent me like a kid on YouTube just sitting on his couch with playing Wii golf, but like just knowing how to mimic whatever the thing wants to do. And I'm like,
come on.
That's not cool.
That's not the fun. That's not the fun of it. That's not the spirit.
You want us to go like, haha, good for you. And I'm like, no, dude, it's more fun when you, but this, I'm telling you, this place is cool, man. I mean, you can tell how I'm talking about it, but this is,
it's the real deal.
It's fun, man.
It's the real deal.
It's very cool. So if you haven't come out, come check it out. Just come see, even if you know, like today, it's going to be, I don't know that you, they might have an opportunity. I don't know. Maybe a little bit later on. I'll have to ask, but just come see what it like. Get a feel for what it looks like. And again, the greens undulate on a couple of these. You got the different cuts of rough and sand and automatic tees. The tee height you can change to like 4 different tee heights depending on how you like to hit off the tee with your driver. And again, coaches, teams. This measures your swing rate. It has a camera to let you know, like if you slice or hook something, like exactly what your club face looked like.
Yeah,
teaching tools,
different angles of it. Like,
it's cool, man. It's cool. All right, I'm gonna switch gears real fast here. We're gonna talk about the Heisman odds in just a second, but I'm gonna get to something else real fast that I just saw, and I want Elijah to both applaud me and rag on me at the same time. So. All right, I've seen now. I didn't know until earlier. Devin Booker didn't make the All-Star team for the West, and now Devin Booker is saying they should up the roster size of the All-Star games. And I have said ever since I saw a young freshman Devin Booker play at Colonial Life Arena, and Kentucky won handily that night. But I remember then, and I've said it ever since, Devin Booker loves him some Devin Booker.
Oh, he absolutely does.
And he did that night, and he still does. And look, he's a baller. I get it. He's very good. But, dude, you didn't make it.
You didn't? No.
I mean, just this year, you didn't make it.
You're not going to make it every year.
But the thing to do is like, well, yeah, they should expand it. And his reasoning is this. NBA rosters for the regular season are at 15. All-Star game roster is at 12. Well, dude, no, it's already hard enough to get a dozen on each team meaningful minutes so they don't feel slighted.
Yeah.
Which is one reason that I don't like the baseball All-Star game, because it's like, who are you?
There's so many
by the
random
inning,
guys.
I'm like this it may as well be a AAA game, and I don't mean it that way literally, but you know what I'm saying. So sorry, Devin Booker, who loves him some Devin Booker.
He loves him some Devin Booker.
You didn't make it this year.
Sometimes, sometimes you don't.
You're
get
an NBA
what you
fan.
want.
Do you want more? Do you want 6 more people?
No.
On the All-Star rosters?
No. People don't watch it enough as is when there's 12. Right? Like, I don't think people are going to flock to their televisions to watch more guys get subbed in and chuck up a lot of threes and dunk the ball. Like 24 players in total, 12 on each team is fine. You don't need more.
Booker's quote. I think there's enough talented guys out here that are deserving. I mean, you look at Kyrie, you look at Norman Powell. Those guys are having unbelievable, efficient years and winning games. And on the East, I'm sure there's guys like Trey Young, he means LaMelo Ball, that are just putting up unheard of numbers. So the more talent in there, the better, I think. No, it's
man.
not.
No,
it's not true, man. Again, how you going to play them all?
And also, it's a popularity contest. You know how people are get into the All-Star game?
Yeah.
Fan votes.
Yeah. 7 of the league's top 20
votes.
scorers didn't make it. Let's see. LaMelo, Tyrese Maxey, Booker, De'Aaron Fox, Kyrie. I'm sorry, the All-Star game's not missing Kyrie.
No, it's not missing LaMelo Ball either.
Zach LaVine.
It's not missing the leading scorer for the Charlotte Hornets. I'm sorry, it's just not missing the leading scorer for the Charlotte Hornets.
If anything, all you can really do, in my opinion, because this is the same with baseball. You're right about fans. I mean, this is who fans want to see. And look, there were times later in his career when, like Cal Ripken was getting voted into the All-Star game. And Cal is immensely popular, and that's why he got in. But that, a couple of years he might have, and I'm just throwing it out, might have been hitting, 250, and only like say by the All-Star break, when the votes were counted, 12 or 15 home runs or something. And Cal was never like Mr. Electrifying at the plate. What he was an amazing athlete who just literally played every day for however many years, right?
Yeah.
But did it the right way. And that's why people loved to keep putting him in the game. Ozzie Smith kept getting voted in. Ozzie could never really hit. Late in his career, Ozzie became a decent hitter, but people loved him, and he played amazing shortstop. If you want to hold out some spots for the league to decide, like Domantas Sabonis didn't get in. And I read about him, and look, he's 20-something points, a whole bunch of rebounds.
Having an incredible season.
But most people don't know who he is.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's popularity
And,
contest.
when somebody might say, well, so-and-so's having, LeBron's not having the kind of year, or Steph's not having the kind of year, or whatever. I'm like,
and agreed.
They're not.
Steph especially not having the same kind of year.
Fans that's who they want to see.
Yeah. That's the reason for all of this, is so people can watch their favorite players.
Yeah. And
all of them on the floor at one time.
And last time I checked, it's an entertainment product, and people want to be entertained by the entertainers. And I mean, like Devin Booker is, again, however, whatever level of confidence he may display, he's still not nearly as popular as some of the frontline guys.
He's not even the most popular guy on his own team.
Yeah. So
Kevin Durant is the most popular guy on that team. And as good as Devin Booker is, a very good basketball player, let's not act like he's Steph Curry or anything like that. Like it's some egregious miss that Devin Booker is not going to be playing in the All-Star game. Like the All-Star game will live.
Yeah, and he's made it
will be
4
fine.
times. If there's something in his contract and he gets a bonus, I'm getting the agent on the horn to the owner, and I'm going, hey, bud, how about a little something for the effort anyway? Like it's All-Star worthy. I don't know. I don't know what you got to do. But if you rely on others to get in, you're not the guy. You've gotten in before. Good for you.
Maybe you should have shamelessly promoted yourself for people to vote for you.
Well, and the thing is, that's just it, right? Like he typically would. He may not wear a shirt that says "Vote for
me," but some social media campaign, something you didn't do enough, Devin.
Vote
I'm
for
sorry.
Pedro. Just wear that.
Pedro.
Yeah, wear that.
And then in parentheses it just says me, Devin.
So that'd be all right. Now that would be cool if he got a with the same little letters and it said vote for Devin instead of Pedro.
See, my only gripe with the NBA is that the fans aren't as trolly with their All-Star votes the same way people like in the Major League Baseball All-Star, like when Lewis Brinson almost got voted as a Major League Baseball All-Star despite hitting like 167 with the Florida Marlins or the Miami Marlins, whatever they are. They're still Florida Marlins to me. But like how many people just heard that and said, who the hell is Lewis Brinson? Exactly. And that's why it would have been hilarious if he was voted as an All-Star starter. Yeah. Would have been so funny. And they almost pulled it off. Almost.
But again, baseball, fans select the starters and not even the pitcher. So fans select the field players, and then the manager and his coaching staff will select the alternates. So NBA, you want to do that? Do it. I don't care how they do, but Devin, sorry, bud, you didn't make it. But we don't need to expand the roster.
And here's the thing too: if you complain about All-Star game lineups or All-Star game construction and roster setup, when you play in the All-Star game, give it your effort. How would you give it your all? Right?
I used to say that the NBA All-Star game was the single greatest pickup basketball game on planet Earth once a year, and I believe that. Today, how much time do I have here? Because I could rant, and I'm not gonna. All-Star games need to become a thing of the past, in my opinion. I don't think they serve the purpose that they once did. And here's what I mean. And like the football one, I've never liked. All right. When I was a little kid, it's terrible. I have not watched a minute of any and of course they don't even have a game anymore now, but I'm not going to watch the flag football. But like baseball, I tune in for a minute, but they're from an era when you didn't get to see these people as much. Now we can see these people all the time. Right. You know, and even as baseball morphed from a radio sport to a black and white TV to color TV, you know, you still, as a little kid, I remember, Elijah, you know, like, wow, American League Baseball, like it was a novelty. I know it's hard.
It was a thing,
you know,
yeah.
for folks of your generation. I get it. You're like, man, that must have been weird. And it was, but like on a Saturday, you know, I don't know that. Hey, there's George Brett, man, playing the Yankees. Like I'll tune in for a little bit of that. Well, now I don't have to worry about it. I can see all whatever I want to see, whatever league. And there's so much.
There's interleague play now too.
Yeah.
I guess part of that novelty was having
Same
an
thing.
American League pitcher that you love against a National League hitter that you love that you never get to see face off.
And now that it's so the novelty is not there anymore. And I would say the same thing for the NBA. There's no novelty to it anymore. You know, so that's just kind of where it is. But sorry, Devin. Maybe next year.
I'm still pro All-Star game forever.
All right, we'll come back on the other side. Heisman odds from ESPN Bet are out. Who is number one? We'll tell you when the postgame show returns.
The Game Network in Columbia.
107.5 The Game.
In Florence.
100.5 The Game.
In Myrtle Beach.
100.3 The Game.
Have you been wanting to play some golf while not freezing your tail off? How about playing 9 in perfect climate-controlled conditions where you can also win some dough? Well, sign up for the first annual Pro Swing Golf Classic. It's a 3-day event, January 30th through February 1st. $150 to register a 2-man team. Bookings are available 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Food from Bonefish Grill included. You can win $1,000 for first place, $750 for second, and $500 for third. Plus, we'll be drawing Gamecocks baseball tickets that someone could win by just registering. Call Pro Swing at 803-528-1617.
107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20K off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
Love telling you about our good friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. Homeowners, love where you live, love your neighborhood, love the house, been there a while, built up some equity, but also realize might be time for some refreshing, including maybe like a home theater system, you know, or get a new kitchen, new bathroom, build a deck out back, whatever it might be. Work with our friends at Palmetto Citizens and take advantage of some fantastic rates with their home equity line of credit. You can access it over a 10-year draw, so you don't have to borrow one big lump sum and start paying that back. No, instead, you know, get one job done now, still tap into that equity later. All right, so kitchen, you know, next couple of months, maybe next year, a guest bathroom or a bigger bathroom, a playroom for the kids, whatever it might be. And as a local not-for-profit organization, they will know you, your neighborhood, your friends and neighbors, and what's up. My wife and I are members. We love it. We've gotten at Palmetto Citizens. I think you will too. Apply online today for all of your banking needs.
By Robert Half. Robert Half research indicates 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. Their recruiting professionals use proprietary AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today.
Get ready to smile because Herndon Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy dealer, is offering an amazing deal right now. Get up to $20,000 off new Silverados. Yes, you heard that right. Up to $20,000 off. Don't wait. Head over to HerndonChevy.com today and drive home in the truck of your dreams. Chevy, together let's drive.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile.
Call 803-510-5447 for complete details.
Hey, this is Jen Jensen for CHW Cabinetry. My family is using CHW Cabinetry, and they are fantastic to work with. They make sure you're satisfied with every step of the process. Not only do their photorealistic renderings show exactly what your new space will look like, their job site guarantees everyone is on the same page, literally. Experience the CHW difference for yourself. Go to chwcabinetry.com to see more or call them at 803-520-6837 and be sure to tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.
everyone. This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing. And for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Is your child struggling in school? Do you know a student 16 to 19 years of age who has dropped out, lacks discipline, or is on a destructive path? Then give the Will Lou Gray Opportunity School a try. The military-style school provides an alternative education to young adults in need of a second chance by offering academic instruction by state-certified teachers and job-based training. Students live on campus during the 14-week program, which is virtually free. For more information, contact 803-896-6480 or at willlougray.org.
Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chafin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass.
The Postgame Show with Jay Phillips and Elijah Campbell.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Welcome back in. Post-game show rolling on here on a Friday afternoon. Jay Phillips, Elijah Campbell with you. Appreciate you being with us. The Heisman odds are out. Arch Manning is number one on this list. I'll get into a few others in a second. He's
not number one if his name is Arch Phillips.
I'm not. Well, that's just it. I'm not going to make too much of this right now. And
Yeah.
if you want to go ahead and start betting on these things, more power to you. I would urge you not to at this point. But what, in your opinion, do you believe this says about where the gambling industry is in today's world? That someone who played a very limited backup role, albeit pretty well and for a very good team, is number one in the betting odds.
This is why they make so much money, is because, these things are really hard to predict. I mean, very rarely, I think, in our careers, can we ever, even if we're not putting money on it, try to predict who the Heisman winner is going to be and actually get it, right? Like, you have more breakout seasons, like a Lamar Jackson breakout season, where no one would have considered him to be a Heisman winner, or a Johnny Manziel, where no one would have considered him to be a Heisman winner. And they do what they do, and the rest is history. Like, very rarely does, somebody win that you fully expect to be the favorite at the beginning of the season. This is why they're so good at this, right? Because it's just hard to do in general. But look at NBA draft time this last summer. How we saw like a news story of how much money was being funneled in on people betting on Bronny James to be the number one pick, even though that was absolutely not happening. That's like it's silly, and the fact that it is so silly, and the fact that that people are paying real money for these tickets, it's why they're good at what they do and why they make a ton of money. It's why the casinos out in Las Vegas, Jay, look like they do. They don't call it Caesar's Hut. They call it Caesar's Palace because they are really good at playing the suckers, and there are a lot of suckers out there.
Yeah. And look, if you want to bet on it, that's right now, I mean, that's cool. If you don't, I would probably recommend that you not.
Yeah, I don't think I would.
But at this point, and let me get to a couple others here. All of a sudden, my iPad doesn't want to work. All right, here we go. Garrett Nussmeier is second at plus 800. By the way, Arch is at plus 750.
Still very steep. Yeah, like
Nussmeier. And I do know this is by the way, this is new today from ESPN Bet, so the ESPN Sportsbook. I think FanDuel still has Nussmeier number 1 on theirs. At least that last check.
Interesting.
Let's see.
Can see that though. I mean, they re-upped on weapons. There's a good chance he throws for a bajillion yards next year.
Top 5 next after Nussmeier. A little bit of a drop. Nico Iamaleava at plus 1,100.
And keep dreaming it.
Cade Klubnik and Drew Aller are at plus 1,200. Jeremiah Smith is next at plus 1,500. Lenora Sellers is at plus 1,800. So there you go. And then I'm not going to get into the whole list.
Lenora Sellers one would be fun. Just
plus 1,800 is, that's great. That's a great return. And again, that means if you bet $100, you win 1,800. So
that's pretty good.
You know what, man? Why do I feel like Nussmeier is going to have a heck of a year?
Oh, because the weapons they brought in, man. LSU, I think, won the transfer portal. Yeah. In terms of talent acquisition in the portal this year, I can't find a team that I think added more to their offense. Now, they added some of the defense too. They added a ton. They rated the portal really well, but the star power they brought in is on the offensive side of the ball, right? With Barry Brown and Nick Anderson. Those two guys are so good. And I think those two guys paired with Garrett Nussmeier, who is a solid quarterback, and Nussmeier probably would have been drafted relatively high if he was in this year's draft. I don't think he'd been a first rounder or anything, but I think he might have had the same effect that Jackson Dart is having on certain scouts right now. But I think Garrett Nussmeier will put up some really good numbers, especially because there's going to be some desperation with that LSU team, man. In year 4 of Brian Kelly, and you ain't gotten close to making a playoff yet.
I was a little surprised. Maybe I shouldn't have been. You tell me. I was a little surprised that Nussmeier didn't go ahead. Because, again, with his dad being an NFL coach, I thought he showed more than enough last season about who he is and what he's got.
Now, and how much better can he get in college?
I don't know. I think so.
But with better weapons,
I think so.
You lose Kyron Lacey and the Daniels kid, who wasn't that productive. You lose a really productive receiver, a guy who took like a fifth of their targets,
right,
along with Mason Taylor. But you bring in 2 guys that are absolute burners, and you already had decent depth at the position to begin with. Like the offense, you could argue, is probably better suited to fit him this year. So I think maybe he had some assurance that they were going to go big game hunting in the portal for wide receivers.
Yeah, I you made a point too.
Makes
like,
sense.
If he's not going to be a first round pick, why go ahead and go? Because if you can, and he can, if you enhance things and you become a top 5, top 10 pick, the amount of money you make is considerably different.
Yeah. Even though this is not a great quarterback draft class, I feel like
there's
agree, good players. Man. Like I love Cam.
Yeah.
I like Shador. I like Jackson Dart to a degree.
You and I were,
I don't love Quinn Ewers.
I'll say this. Elijah and I off air a few minutes ago, we're talking about Jackson Dart and trying to get a current comp of an NFL quarterback. And we were racking our brains pretty good. And I don't know that we came up.
Daniel Jones, maybe?
No, because he doesn't run like Dart does, I mean, Dart's not like a
Daniel just can run.
He can run a little. Yeah. But I wouldn't.
He just gets famously that play where he trips on his own feet at the 25-yard line.
Going so fast. God bless him.
He blew a tire. Operating way too fast and blew a tire.
I don't know. Dart, I was telling you, I feel like Dart is sort of at least collegiately, like the poor man's Robert Griffin. Like he's not as fast as Griffin.
Yeah.
But neither one of them I would ever have accused of being the best thrower of the football either.
And Dart's got a strong arm.
Yeah, it's strong, but how
decision making is not great either. Yeah. I mean, you want to talk about how bad his decision making is?
Go and watch. Had a strong arm, man.
Yes, and also bad decision making, especially off. The field.
If I don't know where the ball's going,
it don't matter.
Yeah, I mean,
how strong
cool.
the arm
You can throw it into row X. Great.
You can't score up there.
But if you throw it into row X during a game, that's bad.
Especially if you're a bad decision maker too. That's my other hang up on Dart. Like his last 3 passes in the Florida game, Only one interception got called because I think one was he got bailed out like on a penalty or just go back and watch. Like his last 3 passes against Florida the ball ended up in the hands of Florida players. And it was, I think 2 of them were penalties on the line of scrimmage or something like that, or a holding on the other side of the field. Nothing that had to do with the catch itself. But like in all 3 of those, they were all bad decisions because he was throwing into double or triple coverage. He did throw a lot into double or triple coverage last year. And I think the last couple of times he played really good defenses, they stifled him a little bit. Right. Unfortunately, I think the only time he didn't get stifled was here in Columbia.
Well,
like that was like the only time against a really good defense where he didn't.
But Nussmeier, just to conclude
held up
a little bit of this story, Nussmeier, I think if he had come out, I don't know. I've watched enough of this through the years and know how some of these evaluations go in this particular part of the offseason to where, again, with his last name, he probably could have elevated himself into a first-round pick. He's got the tools.
If Jackson Dart's blowing people away at the Senior Bowl, I don't see why Garrett Nussmeier would.
I agree. We'll come back on the other side. We're live at Pro Swing today. Elijah has been doing a little Qing and A-ing, if you will, with some folks around Carolina basketball about what's going on and what's not going on. We'll give you some of his findings when the postgame show returns.
From the Midlands to the PD to the beach. The Game Network. Here's what's coming up on the game.
The Schroeder's Towing Roadshow rolls on to Pro Swing Golf, 4708 Forest Drive in Columbia. This Thursday and Friday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Broadcasting live from the first annual Pro Swing Golf Classic.
Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, this is Lisa Hostetler-Brown. If you or a loved one are over 65 and haven't completed a long-term care planning consultation, now is the time. Did you know that if you aren't able to afford the high cost of skilled care, your assets can be rapidly depleted to only $2,000 unless you plan 5 years in advance? Visit lawyerlisa.com to see how we can help.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
Firehouse Subs, Hook and Ladder jingle, take 1.
Hook and ladder, when it's hot, it just tastes better. Warm that smoky turkey, that thin slice.
Guys, this is a 30-second ad. You gotta sing faster.
Hook and ladder, when it's hot, it just tastes better. Melty cheese and toast spread, mustard, mayo, purple spread, lettuce, green, and onion. The sandwich is too big for the song. It's too big.
The Hook and Ladder, available only at participating Firehouse Subs restaurants.
Phil Gunner here with the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder from First Palmetto Bank. If the new year has you in need of a guru in this market, Jacob will get you taken care of. Just a few years ago, he helped me, and I personally recommend him and First Palmetto Bank, who's owned and operated right here in the Midlands. Jacob has local decision makers, which means quick and precise processing and underwriting. So if you're looking to make a move, give Jacob a call today, 803-719-1005, or email him at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com.
Thanks, Bill. It's nice to have the band back together. Interest rates have stabilized, as well as the local housing market. Now is a good time to buy a house. At First Palmetto, we have products to help home buyers keep payments down. Also, if you're considering building a home, we have a no-nonsense construction loan that fit your needs. If the new year brings change, we can help you. Give me a call, 803-719-1005.
Great news on the housing market having stabilized. So that makes it a good time to buy?
Absolutely. That sums it up, Bill.
Call Jacob Crowder today, 803-719-1005.
My MLS number is 198432. First Palmetto is a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
Now's the time for incredible New Year's savings on the entire lineup of award-winning Chevy vehicles. I-26 at Harvest and LoveChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
We keep the clutter out of your gutter. Call on the gutter man.
The Guttermen have been providing top-notch service throughout the Midlands for over 47 years, building their business on relationships, not gimmicks. And you can call them locally, not a 1-800 number. Call them today at 791-7147 and look for the guys in the powder blue trucks.
We keep the clutter out of your gutter. Call on the gutter man.
O'Hara's Public House is the sweet deal of the week. Get a $50 gift certificate for just $25. Log on to 1075thegame.com beginning this Friday at 9 a.m. to get your $50 gift certificate to O'Hara's for just $25.
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line, 803-404-6100. Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
From the WIS Traffic Studios, I'm Elijah Campbell. The few accidents to get to, they're causing some issues on the roadways, starting with one on Clemson Road at South Carolina 555 and Faro Road. Got one on Highway 6 near Highway 602 and Platte Springs Road, Killian Road at I-77, Laurel Road at US 1, Sloan Road at Hardscrabble Road, 2 Notch Road at Highway 6 and South Lake Drive, and lastly, one on US 176 at Broad River Road near Freshly Mill Road.
What you're talking about.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet
On the Game Network.
We are talking about all kinds of things on a Friday. We've been talking we talked some rock and roll. We've talked some college football. We talked
Guar mentioned.
Yes, that's right. That's not how it got going, but somehow, some way.
I think that's how I ended it, actually.
Can't really yes, in more ways than one.
That's how I walked it off.
Yeah. Now, earlier today, for a Friday, and this is why this is one of my favorite listeners and Twitter followers, Albert. He's a regular, so he knows the show. He knows the old Top 5 Friday and things like that.
Oh yeah.
So he
gets the show.
He threw in a great thought exercise. Was the 1968 the Mick Taylor era of the Rolling Stones, like 68 through 75. Was that the best era, not just of the Stones, but like for any rock band? And I'm like, man, I can't just say yes, he did, and that's cool. I said that was running simultaneously with Led Zeppelin, who I am. You may have heard.
They're kind of popular.
I'm a pretty big fan of. I had somebody else hit me and say the early run of Van Halen. Yeah, I wouldn't put Van Halen's first 5 or 6 years up against, and I love Van Halen, but I wouldn't put that up against that Stones era or Led Zeppelin. That they would lose every time.
Now, I have an interesting angle on this. Different type of rock, because this is classic rock. This is more like 90s grunge or whatever, and it's an individual, not a band.
Okay.
Chris Cornell. From Soundgarden all the way through Temple of the Dog and Audioslave.
Yeah, and
that was a hell of a run.
It was
a hell of a vocal run.
And
rest in peace?
Yeah, and he did which Bond? He was big when you do a Bond movie, you've done well.
Which Bond movie did he do?
One of the Daniel Craigs, right?
He might have. But did he? I don't know.
Yeah, he did one. I'm just trying to think of which one now. Or maybe a Pierce Brosnan one.
I'll look that up.
He did one of them. Anyway,
but I mean, a personal.
Yeah, run. I don't know.
This is in terms of individual efforts as opposed to team efforts.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But that's a good one. What Albert came up with, because that I would absolutely say that's the Stones' best era. I mean, every album, every song was fantastic, and that's one of those where I've said you could take. Look, Stones, their hits are massive, right? But if you took the top 20 Rolling Stones songs, all right, whatever they might be, Jumpin' Jack Flash and all those, and you just lop them off and then say, all right, Stones, for your next concert, I need you to play, your next 20 best. You'd go and you'd be like, oh,
right.
Oh God, that's right. Songs like When the Whip Comes Down or song, Sweet Virginia, things like that. You just don't think about that are like, oh my God, those are amazing songs. So probably so, Albert. That's debatable for anybody. Beatles, again, prolific run.
For at least the entire decade.
I mean, again, and that's the thing too about the Beatles. I mean, 99 out of 100 Beatles songs are are just great.
Are really good.
Yeah.
There are very, very few of their albums would I consider them having skips.
There's just
on
a
them.
couple that you're like, I don't know. But I mean, by and large. So anyway, fun
I
stuff.
even like the ones that people rag on publicly.
Yeah. So
like Octopus's Garden. I've
it's-
gotten arguments with people. I
used
love
to-
that song. It's
well,
a great song.
like,
And people say it sucks, and it doesn't
No,
suck.
it's a
really
great-
good.
it's
It's a
a
great
great
tune.
song.
It's a happy song.
And that's one where, like, Paul and John said, I don't want to sing that one. And Ringo's like, I'll do it, Paul.
I'll do it.
Yeah. I'll do it. It's great. I'll do it. All right. So you've done some. We know this year has not been a great year for South Carolina men's basketball. Record speaks for itself, certainly in conference play. You did beat Clemson, and that was fun. That's certainly your high water mark at this point in time. But why are we where we are? Elijah Campbell's been doing some questioning of those around town about what could be different.
Yeah, a lot of people whose opinions on the matter I trust pretty well, who have really good insights with this team. And the consensus that I've gotten is that there's square pegs and round holes, right? And the offense isn't necessarily built for the strength of all of the players. And I get trying to run the offense through Colin Murray Boyles, and I've been an advocate of saying you need to run the entire offense through Colin Murray Boyles. But at the same time, there's a lack of off-ball movement that I find to be a little alarming, that a lot of times you get down to the end of the shot clock, and there's a lot of standing around from the people that don't have the basketball, or at least are on the weak side of the floor, right? Because Colin will do a lot of like the dribble handoff stuff. They'll do a lot of that type of two-man action. But on the other side of the floor, there's a lot of standing around. There's a lot of camping out in the corner. And I get having somebody camp out in the corner can be beneficial. But at the same time, like the dunker spot, that little area on the corner of the floor, kind of like the short corner, is a great spot for somebody to, drive to the rim and throw a lob to, right? Like someone like Nick Pringle, right? His strength at Alabama was screening and rim running and catching lobs, right? And then being a rim protector on defense. He brought here to do a little more traditional post offense. Might be a square peg in a round hole. I know they believed he could do that, and I can appreciate somebody exhibiting that belief in a young man to do something where he could be more involved fully in an offense. But at the same time, Nate Oates knew what he was doing.
Can I ask,
would make him as productive as possible.
Yeah, and there's where I was going to take you. So I'm glad you brought up Nate. Was it simply a matter, in your opinion, of the way Nate used him? Nick was fine with in and of itself, but did Nick also believe, like, man, I can do more, and I want to go to a place where I can do more, and then maybe you find out not so much?
Potentially.
Like, I don't know if that's happening. I'm just
potentially.
asking.
And Nick's a really smart basketball mind. Like, the conversations that I've had, like with Nick in media sessions, or like, the first one at the beginning of the year, way before the year started, like this is, in like September, went to a practice, and, we the media got to talk to these players a little bit. And I remember talking with Nick, and we're talking about Gortat screens, man. Like we're talking about some of like the real finite details of basketball. He's a really smart dude. And I think basketball-wise, he's self-aware. And I think, he's had some success in the role that he's in this year, but not sustained, because there are some learning curves, right? I think there's, from a comfort perspective, he might be more comfortable just as a screen and rim roller, because that's where he's seen most success this year. And it does feel like it's just a square peg in a round hole. Jamari Thomas also, as being a true point guard, maybe square peg in a round hole, was a score-first guard at Norfolk State. And as good of a scorer as he can be at times, if that's your second scoring option, then maybe you're not in the best place, right? Right. Zach Davis is an awesome athlete. And I still see a lot of potential in Zach Davis. And a lot of people are down on Zach, but I still see a lot of potential in Zach Davis as a really good cutter. I think he's like what I mentioned earlier. Instead of standing at the, in the corner for a three, he might be best suited if somebody drives him cutting baseline and being in that dunker spot where you can throw up a lob and see what he can do. It feels like
Zach's role last year was different.
Yeah. It felt like Zach's role last year was that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think, Zach should be shooting many threes off of the dribble. And I think there's way too much of that this year. I think there's just maybe a lack of total development. I don't know if it's something with the program that is the issue, or maybe it's just a yearly thing. Sometimes players don't develop throughout the season as you would hope and expect them to. And that might be an issue.
You've named some guys that are seeing some time. Cam Scott is not.
Yeah.
And that's becoming
very disappointing.
Yeah, and I know a lot of fans locally, again, local kid, big-time prospect. So what more are we learning about that?
I think there's probably a lot of frustration, but at the same time, Cam's an A+ teammate. You watch any game, man, he's the first guy off the bench to congratulate teammates. His spirits are high, and that's good, But I think there's some things that when Cam's on the floor, he's either not getting the freedom to do or not put in the position that made him such a good high school player. Right? Like Cam is really good off the dribble, getting to his spots. I know the mid-range jumper is not a very efficient shot, and I'm not saying he should go out there and shoot 15 of those a game, because ultimately that's not a very smart strategy, but maybe get him some of those shots throughout the game. If you get him in the game, even if you sacrifice a little bit defensively, I think he could still help you on the offensive side of the ball, because he's just not getting enough minutes and continuity, right? Like he's not, I guess, being able to find a rhythm within the game. And in high school, he was great at, taking somebody off the dribble and pulling up, or he was also good at moving up the basketball too. I mean, he played on a high school team with a kid in Caleb Evans, who is going to be playing at Winthrop, and Jackson Prunty, who was playing at College of Charleston. Those were the two primary guards, right? And you watch that team play, and they were so much fun to watch. But Cam could do a lot of good things off the ball. And if you're being asked to do something different in college, it can be an adjustment period. And I feel like maybe he's not being asked to do the things that he excels in as a player, and that might not help him reach his potential or the potential that he has to help you as much as possible in is the year here.
All right, just yes, no. You anticipate a significant larger amount of minutes for Cam in the second half of the conference slate?
I don't. I would like to.
Okay.
Just to see what you got. At this point, you see what you got. I mean, you're already under 500. See what you got.
Lots more to do. We're live at Pro Swing. Check in on what's going on around here. We got headlines of the day and the drive around the SEC still to come. It's the Friday postgame show.
107.5 The Game.
In Columbia.
100.5 The Game.
In Florence.
100.3 The Game.
In Myrtle Beach. The Game Network. We all love streaking. I mean, streaming. Until we have to pay for it. But not when you stream the game.
And how much does it cost?
It's free. Just go to iTunes or Google Play and download the 107.5 The Game app and stream for no charge and listen for no charge.
I'm Bill Ryder with the Sports Minute. It is time to stop sleeping on the level of greatness Jalen Hurts is painfully close to. Because if somehow he and his Philadelphia Eagles beat the Chiefs next week in the Super Bowl, he'll be on track to be perhaps the Peyton Manning of his generation. Already, he has more Super Bowl appearances than names like Aaron Rodgers, Dan Marino, Drew Brees, and Matt Stafford. The fact is that Hurts is remarkable, but a win makes us recognize it. I'm Bill Ryder.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
What other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, it sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Do you have sagging, soft, or bouncy floors in your home? Well, this could be a sign of rotten wood caused by moisture in your crawl space. Damaged wood in your crawl space can affect your home's foundation, and that can affect your home's value, and nobody wants that. Say goodbye to sagging floors and hello to a stable foundation. Contact Canty today for your free inspection at 803-424-8380 or visit cantycanfixit.com.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-455-8787. 800-455-8787. Again, that's 800-455-8787.
Honey, look, the hookers. They've moved off the highway and now they're all over the parking lot.
What are all those Schroeder's towing trucks doing in that parking lot, though?
Must be towing all those unauthorized cars parked in the lot. Good thing the business owner called Schroeder's Towing to keep their parking lot clear for just their customers. Didn't those cars see the free signage that Schroeder's provides to business owners to deter unauthorized parking?
I guess not.
Schroeder's Towing, the best and fastest hookers in town.
The Postgame Show with Jay Phillips and Elijah Campbell on your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Welcome back in. It's about to be Pro Swing After Dark right now. It's just going to be kind of the post-game show After Dark. Jay, Elijah.
That'll be a hell of a show one day.
Jeannie and Haley are here making sure we don't break stuff. Steven is
Easier said
here.
than
done. David was here. Well, David's still here, but he told me I could break stuff, that they have insurance. And I was like, excellent. So if I get mad, I can throw a club. No, Stephen Colwell is with us, who is running things out here as day 2 of the inaugural Pro Swing Winter Classic is well underway. And a lot of groups just came in. This place is about to get super busy again as we hit the end of the workday. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man.
You've been awake a while.
A little tired. Yeah, it's been a long couple of days, but it's been a lot of fun.
Did when Gunnar comes in as early as he does, are there a lot of demands? How hard is it for you to work with Bill Gunnar?
Well, I'm still not quite human yet at that point.
Right.
Who is? I have to finish my coffee.
Yeah, he's not either.
And you know what? I give him a lot of credit to be able to be coherent and have conversations about sports coherently that early in the morning. I'm not functioning.
Jen and Preston, yes. Bill should not give Bill any credit for anything. No, we kid. We love Bill Gunnar, I promise. This is fun. We were just the guys in front of us here are playing Harbortown. And I said the next iteration of like the golf zone technology needs to be that if you hit the water at Harbortown, that like an alligator pops out.
Yeah, I want to get like some mist fans, and we'll get some like fake trees to put up in front and behind people, that kind of thing, to make it more realistic.
And at Harbortown too, you need to have like crowd noise, because by Saturday afternoon at Harbortown, there's a lot of people who are enjoying the golf.
They've had a good time at that point. Right.
The festivities.
Yeah. Right.
Golf and non-golf.
I know you've talked a few times throughout the day, but again, just telling people we've I love this, and I was actually I was hitting on the driving range a little bit earlier today, and I had a couple of nice shots, which was good. 15% of my shots the computer called excellent. And the computer doesn't know who I am and doesn't care.
That's right. And as long as one of the last few that you hit is excellent, it gets you to come back the next
Leave
time.
on a high note. Actually, I didn't. When it finally came out, I realized that Elijah was about to have to start the show, and then I kind of shanked my last one. It went about 220, but it was a pretty good slice.
Yeah. Well, the good thing about that is in here you don't have to go find it.
No, that's a great point.
You don't lose the golf balls here.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Still, did I see right? There's still maybe 2 slots left.
So I have a couple of spots tomorrow morning.
Okay.
That I had kind of kept blocked off for
Okay.
last minute. So if you want to get in tomorrow before, let me double check the time here. I think it's in the morning before 1 p.m.
Okay.
I've got a couple first thing in the morning, between 9 and 1.
Okay.
Yep. So if you want, you can call Nathan 803-528-1617.
Yep.
He's got the slots available. He can slot you in. We can get you an invoice paid over the phone. get you entered in to come play. We've got a lot of scores in already. We've got a lot more that are coming through tonight. We've got some more rounds to be played tomorrow. Get entered into our raffles, all that good stuff.
And one thing I didn't ask you yesterday that I should have, serious question. Everybody playing the same course for the tournament?
Everyone that's playing the tournament. Yeah, we've got a couple of our members here that we've kind of got this extra bay off to the side of the guys that are playing Barber Town. Right?
Okay.
But yes, everybody's playing the same course, same hole location, same wind settings, all that stuff. So it's like you're playing the same course at the same time,
right?
Even though we're playing it different, on different tee times.
Yeah. And again, $150 for a team, 9 holes. The winners are going to win $1,000, $750 for second, $500 for third.
That's right.
Bonefish just brought over some very fresh food that smells quite delicious.
They've been fantastic with catering for us, kind of throughout the day as our tee times progress.
That's right. And there is a wide variety of liquid refreshment.
Yep. We got all
no matter
kinds of
your
stuff.
age.
That's correct.
Right?
Yep.
Is that a nice way to say it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
It's
the variety.
I just, again, I marvel, and I tell people, come look, if you want to come by, you can register to win some baseball tickets. I got a couple of t-shirts left, but just come see what this is about. If you do like golf, and I mentioned earlier, I don't know if you agree with me or not, and this is a good thing, not a bad thing. This, for a lot of buddies that just want to come hang on a Friday, Saturday night, or whatever night, it's like golf meets bowling. You can have that kind of fun.
So yeah, it's the great social aspect. I was talking to somebody earlier. They're asking me, my opinion on the TGL and like kind of how that relates to us and all that. Anytime you get the professionals playing inside on a simulator, even though it's not exactly like ours, they probably would tell you it's not even the best golf they've ever played, but they're having a great time. And that's what we want to do. We want to be able to provide great golf. But even for those who aren't great at golf, it's all about the social aspect. There's over 260 courses on the machine. You can play from around the world. There's driving range capabilities. So if you want to come in and work on your game, or you want to come in and just have a good time, hang out, socialize with your friends.
And I told David told us, like one of the bays has an arcade mode.
It does.
And I was telling Elijah, like, if you can have it closest to the pin contest.
Yeah.
Which you cannot do at the golf course. It's like,
That's right.
hey, folks, hold on. We're having it closest to the pin. We'll be done in a minute.
That's right.
You can't do that.
That's right.
And you can't do it on the range at the golf course either, because you can't go out and measure who got closest to the pin unless you want to get assaulted by golf balls.
You know immediately.
So here you can do it.
That's
You
right.
can have those kind of things.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you again in a little bit. But
Sounds
thanks
good.
for having us out.
Awesome.
It's a whole lot of fun. Pro Swing on
been
Forest
great.
Drive. Y'all come out and say, hey, we've got another hour to go. Headlines of the day. Drive around the SEC. You're listening to the Postgame Show.
107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20K off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
Sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing. And for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Have a passion for serving children and families? Apply to become a child welfare case manager at dss.sc.gov. This message is sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Social Services.
AAA Heating and Air is on the hunt to find the oldest AC unit in our Midland service area. Do you think it could be yours? If you do, it could pay off. AAA Heating and Air and My Oldest AC contest is kicking off, and you have a chance to win a new HVAC system for your home. Just head over to their website, myoldAir.com and complete the online entry form. AAA Heating and Air will draw a winner at random for every 100 entries. It really is that easy. Contest is limited time only. Residents in the AAA Heating and Air service area are eligible to enter. See the terms and rules on their website for a full list of contest rules.
When you're injured in South Carolina, let me tell you what you deserve. An ally who understands your values, who speaks your language, and is invested in your future. The Jeffcoat firm is a team of proven attorneys from right here. We know South Carolina. We know the law, and we know how to get results. When you're injured in our state, call us because you deserve better.
Responsible attorney is Michael Jeffcoat, 1333 Main Street, Columbia.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
That's right. I'm Elijah Campbell from the WIS Traffic Studios, here to give you a few accidents currently causing some issues on the roadways, starting with one on Bush River Road at St. Andrews Road, Forest Drive near Highway 12 and Percival Road, Highway 1 at Augusta Road at I-26, Highway 17 northbound before Waukesha Road, if that's how you pronounce that, Highway 6 near Highway 602 and Platte Springs Road, I-26 eastbound after Piney Grove Road near exit 104.
Your home for the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WMKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station. It's time to check out what up in the world of sports.
This just in. Breaking news is breaking out everywhere.
The 5 o'clock news. The postgame show.
If you're just joining us, I'm covering some breaking news. You know news is breaking because I'm telling you so, and I might touch my earpiece like this.
5 o'clock news. Sponsored by Integrated Media.
Columbia's premier home theater and security experts for over 20 years.
And it is 5 o'clock news time on this Friday. Welcome back in. Also, the final hour of the post-game show. We are broadcasting live, and as you can tell, we're having a very good time at Pro Swing on Forest Drive. We'll be here for one more hour. They've got the evening session of the inaugural Winter Classic now well underway. And, yes, it is being catered by Bonefish next door here on Forest Drive.
Can't confirm. Very good. That shrimp is delicious.
Headline. Breaking news. Elijah likes Bang Bang Shrimp.
Elijah loves Bang Bang Shrimp.
There you go.
Spread the word.
Yeah. I'm glad that you made it back in time because I would have just said things like there's probably some traffic in the heavily traveled areas.
It's fake traffic. It sucks.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
That's right. Like Ollie.
Stay indoors.
It's raining.
Hide the children.
There's traffic. Anyway, let's get to it. Developing news. Again, I don't want anybody to get alarmed by this, but developing news in the House versus NCAA settlement situation today was the final day to file any objections to the settlement. Most legal experts that have been asked still believe that this will be finalized by April. However, today, amongst other objections, there were a couple that I do believe legal experts have some issues with. The biggest one, again, an objection to the settlement is that claims that future limits on how much schools can give to athletes creates a new illegal cap, and it violates the same laws that got this ball rolling many years ago to begin with. Another claims that the $2.8 billion in damages payout is too low and that the formula used to distribute that money is unfair to female athletes, to walk-on athletes, and others who would have otherwise been involved in the class. Another says that a clause that places limits on team rosters could eliminate thousands of opportunities for athletes to play in D1 sports. And another big one, alleged conflicts of interest for the plaintiffs who have been asked to also lobby Congress to get better laws passed ultimately. And could that be problematic? I can't tell you as much about number 4. I'm not a lawyer. I'll let lawyers decide the lawyer stuff or let the judge figure that one out. I'm going to kind of go from bottom to top here, at least on those big 4, Elijah. Number 3, a clause that places a limit on team rosters could eliminate thousands of opportunities. It could. I don't know that there's anything there that can be done about that. I mean, they're going to, for instance, it's also going to open up some opportunities. And here's what I mean. Like football is probably going to go above 85 to maybe 100, and they'll all be on scholarship, but it will eliminate walk-on opportunities. I get it, but that's 15 more scholarships.
Well, those players that would be walk-ons now have scholarships.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really,
and we don't know this yet.
That's a plus. That's a good thing.
Baseball, for instance, is going to go from 11.7 to like 30. I mean, that's fantastic.
And no more walk-ons,
Yeah,
which is a good thing.
Or paying,
you're playing on the team and you don't.
And everybody has to get something in the current baseball structure, and it becomes a real headache. So that one I'm not sure. Again, I'm not the expert here. I'm just a guy who talks about these things as best I can with the information that's in front of me. I don't see that one, in my opinion, as something that the judge is going to go, oh, I didn't think about that. I think she's going to probably say, well, there seem to be some trade-offs here with bigger rosters and more scholarships too.
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, you can object to almost anything. The payout is too low. Again, she's going to ask who was involved, and she already knows, but who was involved in settling this and how did they come up with it? As Jeremiah Donati told you and me the other day, the choice between the number and not having it was basically a going out of business, because if this hadn't been accepted by the defendants, in this case the members of the NCAA, you might have been looking at damages that were more than double that number, and
maybe even larger than that.
And so objecting to say we need more, again, at some point there is a breaking point. There is the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back kind of a situation here for some schools. I think the biggest schools, Southeastern Conference schools, et cetera, Big Ten, any of the power schools, I would think would probably be fine. But I could sense a number of solid D1 programs going, because a lot of mid-majors, if you will, are going to be required to pay a significant amount of their income and revenue into this same fund, because and if I may, there's sort of the downside to being in D1. It's like, well, you wanted to be in D1, because you every once in a while wanted one of those nice $1.2 million, $1.3 million checks to be somebody's homecoming patsy.
Yep.
But
you sold out for it.
But now what, right? So again, that one could be problematic. I think the judge is probably okay with the number there. The one that worries me, and I said this earlier in the show today because this broke right before we came on the air. Again, claims on what's a cap. You can't put a cap arbitrarily on this, even if it's quote settled
without collective bargaining.
And
that's the only thing, and they're not going to do that.
No, and the analogy I gave you was, right. Okay. So this has been in the works for a couple of years. So what I told Elijah was, my hypothetical scenario was this. Right now, there's a 16-year-old high school athlete that in 4 years, when they're a high school or they're a college sophomore, right now they're a high school sophomore. In 4 years, they'll be a college sophomore. They may think that X amount is the right amount for them. And their attorney will go, hey, Your Honor, or whomever, my client was actually like 13 when this process got started. And he or she had absolutely nothing to do with any of these negotiations. And now he or she is a good athlete and would like X, and yet somebody is telling it, well, you can't have X because there's a cap, and we only have. All right, well, Your Honor, again, my guy or girl had nothing to do with the cap.
Exceeds this market value for what your cap is, which someone's going to try to make the case one day.
And then they'll and again, the suit has been filed, and then you're just back in court. Maybe the schools win, maybe they don't. But,
they won't.
But yeah, I don't think they will.
They won't.
The evidence, the all of the verdicts out there, and let's face it, here's what's been interesting too, and now I'm going to pontificate for a second. One of the things that has driven me nuts for years about the NCAA in direct relation to the American legal system, and I realize they are different. The American legal system relies heavily upon precedent in cases, and lawyers cite it all the time in case law. And the judge will know it, Your Honor, in so-and-so versus so-and-so back in whatever, this is what happened, and here's what's happening in our case today, and this is why we believe what we believe. And a judge will go, yep, I see that. When it comes to the NCAA, hey, NCAA investigative arm, 20 years ago, you guys punished Big State U with this, but, 10 years later, you barely even yelled at Tech, and now you've just turned your back on the whole thing. Like, there's no precedent there. They don't use the precedent. And so I think that becomes problematic because they just go fight every battle seems to be a new battle.
For the basis in which they fight it on is always wrong.
Yeah. And again, they're getting slaughtered in court. So I do think that one is a problem for everybody. How it's dealt with, I have no idea. If somebody doesn't like it, I don't know. Even, I would need an attorney. John, if you're listening, you know who you are. Call me up. What happens beyond this? If Judge Wilkin allows this to go, is there somebody out there who can go, nope. I'm suing on that settlement number 2. We can't have an artificial cap. And you take it to whatever appeals court. This is a federal case, so the Supreme Court, they're not going to be able to hear it until next year. I mean, I don't know what that looks like. And again, I'm going out there a little bit, but this is problematic, I think. I really do.
That's the scary one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, we're just going to end up getting back in here and doing the same thing over and over again and spinning our wheels.
And I'm tired of that.
The NCAA will be spending more money. And the schools will be spending more money in these settlements because then there'll be another one. And ultimately, it just gets to the point where you will bleed yourself dry if you just don't start biting the bullet and doing what you don't want to have to do. I mean, none of this the NCAA has wanted to have to do anyway.
No.
But you're going to have to keep doing that. You're going to have to keep taking those L's to the point where it gets to where you either do this or cease to exist. And we're, maybe 5 or 6 years from that happening?
It was refreshing, even if nothing can be done about it. It was genuinely refreshing to hear Jeremiah Donati the other day say, well, yeah, it'd have been cool if about 20 years ago there had started to be some level of proactivity.
Yeah.
I hope more leaders will do that, and that more leaders, when they, when an AD like him goes to his president or to his board, and these people have to go make these decisions at the national level, that they'll start to realize, let's be proactive instead of reactive, or let's quit trying to prop up a system that is already it's not even on life support.
Do so with a sense of urgency, right?
I mean, you're just at this point you're calling in hospice care. It's time to do something else. Anyway, we'll see. But today was the final day. The point we're bringing up, you just tuned in. Today was the final day for anyone with any objection whatsoever to file it when it comes to the House versus NCAA settlement case. So now Judge Wilkin will take all of these into account. She is still expected to rule in April. And by and large, we think this is going to pass and everything's going to be fine. But we'll see what she thinks about that one. In the meantime, continuing our integrated media headlines of the day, Mike Gundy's new contract at Oklahoma State has been approved by the Oklahoma Board of Regents. His salary will drop by $1 million. He'll earn $6.75 million in the first of a 4-year term. It'll end after the 28th season. He's been at Oklahoma State since 2005. He is the second most tenured coach in the FBS. Behind who?
Second most tenured, Kirk Ferentz.
Yes. Well done, sir. You win.
Pop quiz, baby.
But it was his worst season.
Always ready.
They were 3-9. They did not win a game in conference play. He was nearly out of a job. He'd be owed $15 million if he's fired during the next 3 years, $10 million during the final year. He's hired a whole bunch of new coordinators, including Todd Grantham, who's at least popular in name.
Popular name, and I still, every time I hear Todd Grantham, I just think of him almost fighting Derek Mason.
Yes.
At midfield at Vandy, Florida, back in 2017, 2018, something like that.
10 years ago, but maybe not quite 10, but close. Yeah.
That's all I think of every time I hear it. I think of Todd Grantham now.
So
that's it. Just that one instant.
There you go, Todd Grantham. And finally, congratulations to Michaela Blakes last night. The Vandy basketball player scored 53 points versus Florida. The Commodores win 99-86. I saw two different things, which was odd. ESPN said that the freshman record was held by Elena Deladon of Delaware, but another said Juju Watkins had it. And apparently the discrepancy is that Elena did it as a redshirt freshman. Juju last year was a true freshman, and Michaela is a true freshman. It is also the most points ever scored in an SEC women's basketball game, and I did go look it up because none of the articles cited what record was broken. Jocelyn Penn of the University of South Carolina, 2003, had scored 51 points in a non-conference game, but for a conference team.
Yes.
Jocelyn also had a 50-point game.
She had multiple career 50 burgers.
Yeah, but
prolific.
But most points in a conference game and by a conference player, at least on the women's side. Michaela Blakes, 53 points last night. She made 16 buckets and she made 16 free throws.
She only took 24 shots from the field in that game. 24 shots in the field produced 53 points.
And a freshman.
That's pretty damn good. Yeah.
She's being heavily relied upon to make the Commodores a better program. But
SEC Freshman of the Year race between her and Joyce Edwards is pretty interesting.
Yeah,
it's pretty interesting. You can make an argument both ways.
You can, and we love what Joyce is doing, but what Michaela did last night,
53 points on the road is 53 points on the road.
So now Dawn, let Joyce cook and see what happens.
Joyce cook.
More from Pro Swing. That's our integrated media headlines of the day. It's the Postgame Show.
The Game Network in Columbia.
107.5 The Game.
In Florence.
100.5 The Game.
In Myrtle Beach.
100.3 The Game.
We all love streaking. I mean, streaming until we have to pay for it. But not when you stream the game.
And how much does it cost?
It's free. Just go to iTunes or Google Play and download the 107.5 The Game app and stream for no charge and listen for no charge. 107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20K off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
This report is sponsored by Carolina Conditions Home Services. Carolina Conditions Home Services specializes in generators, drains, and electric car chargers, making them your one-stop shop for all your comfort needs. Visit their website at carolinaconditions.com or call 803-233-7172 for expert service you can count on.
Sponsored by The Blood Connection. Save lives, earn rewards.
Hey, Midlands, save lives and earn rewards with the Blood Connection. Every donation can save up to 3 local lives. It's quick, easy. You'll feel great knowing you're helping your neighbors, not to mention you'll be a hometown hero. Visit thebloodconnection.org to find a nearby donation center. Donate today. Be a hero.
I'm starting 2025 with insanely clean carpets from Zerorez. Call to get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119. And when you mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game, you'll get a hallway cleaned for free. Schedule online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
Offers not in conjunction, plus tax and title with approved credit. Call 866-243-4623 for details. JT is blowing my mind right now with JT's Jeep Ram up to $10,000 in factory rebates. That's real money you can put in your pocket. But there's more. JT has up to $5,000 more in discounts. You can start the new year in a new Ram or Jeep with no money out of your pocket. Actually, put some in your pocket. JT's Jeep Ram, 378 Lexington or Greystone Boulevard. Start something new sales event.
If you have IRS tax problems, it can seem like a vicious cycle that never ends, year after year. Just getting the mail can be stressful and overwhelming. Don't let it ruin your life. There is a solution. Since 2008, the attorneys at Exton Law Firm have devoted their practice to the resolution of tax problems for individuals and businesses across the Carolinas. We have the knowledge and experience and are dedicated to the success of each client. We are local attorneys with local solutions. At the free initial consultation, we'll listen to your concerns, your goals, and explain the systematic process we use in solving your tax problem. From that initial meeting, you'll see there is a solution. We're dedicated to improving your life by solving your tax problems. If we sound like someone you want to work with, take that first step. Give us a call at 803-771-9800 or go to ectonlawfirm.com. You'll be glad you did.
Strengthening the lives of children and families is a passion. Turn that passion into results as a child welfare case manager. Learn more at dss.sc.gov. This message is sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Social Services.
You got your hands Luke Bryan. Country Song Came On Tour. And then a country song. Friday, July 18th. Credit One Stadium, Charleston. Luke Bryan. With special guests George Burge, Brianna, Drake Million, and DJ Rock. Tickets are on sale now at LiveNation.com. Don't miss Luke Bryan, live, presented by Live Nation.
Need a roof? Trust Crescent Construction. With over 20,000 roofs installed and counting, they've got the experience you need. They specialize in residential roofing, commercial roofing, and general contracting. Visit CrescentCarolina.com today for free estimates and free inspections. That's right, no cost, no commitment. Crescent Construction, quality you can count on. For all your roofing and construction needs, visit CrescentCarolina.com now.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
The Postgame Show with Jay Phillips and Elijah Campbell on your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Minutes after 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. You made it. If you're in the car on the way home, unless Elijah's got you in one of those traffic spots, enjoy. Congrats.
Now, I wouldn't have gotten you in the traffic spot. I warned you.
Trying to get you out of it.
Trying to get you out of it. Yep.
It's true.
I gave you the information. If you drove into it, that is still on you.
But we're full go here right now, man. All four bays loaded up. This place is hopping. Pro Swing on Forest Drive. Again, this place is so much fun. We'll talk to Stephen Colwell again a little bit about how you can come be a part, not just of the tournament,
if you will,
but you can do this, every day if you want.
Honestly, a great Friday night activity with the fellas or the ladies.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it's not completely, all right? I'm not trying to say this is all it is because it's not, but for some of you looking for that kind of, fun nighttime experience, it could be kind of like golf meets bowling. There's no bowling, but a lot of times you go, you're not
the camaraderie. You're there for the camaraderie
and a little friendly competition and things like that.
Yeah. Everybody's watching you. Taking turns.
That's right.
Inside.
That's right. Yeah.
Good with groups.
That's right.
Because when you bowl, you're not taking a turn, then walking, and then stopping and doing it again.
Right.
You're all at the same spot.
And, just like bowling, you might need some etiquette from time to time. Like, I can't stand it when you go bowling and like you're ready to go and then somebody just comes up next to you in the lane and they just like go. It's like, nah, man, you got to wait. So I just always let whoever comes up, I just let him go so that I can bowl. Like, I don't like to bowl.
You can't bowl at the same time as somebody.
Really? Simultaneous bowling is not good.
You need to invest in that tunnel vision. You need to dig deep within yourself and lock in. See,
but,
I get up there and I'm starting to bowl. you could be smashing pans in the next lane. I ain't gonna know.
You can smash pans in the next lane. I just don't want you walking next to me and bowling at the same time.
Oh, you could almost like
you can make
take
as
your
much
shirt off and
noise as you
slide
want.
down the lane, and you know what? Won't even know because I'm so laser focused.
Yeah,
it's that focus of a
that's
champion,
good.
Jay Phillips.
That's good. That's good. Now, my
you gotta be built different.
My mama raised me up good to to be nice and polite. But anyway, now this place is cool, man. Y'all just come see it. Yeah, come if you're ever in the area, come in, see what it's about. Steven and David and the whole crew, they'll tell you. I mean, this 200 plus courses. Again, if you wanted to have a closest to the pin contest on the arcade mode on a couple of these, it's fun. Like I said, you can't do closest to the pin at the golf course, but you can. But you got to go. But you can't keep doing it. You can hold people up. You can't do it on the driving range unless you want to go be bombarded with balls from the others who are.
Which
on the
sounds fun for the last place person.
Yeah,
whoever, if you guys play around and then you're
there
like,
is something sporting about that. I agree. But
for you and the people that are still on the range while you're going to go check.
That's right.
It's a moving target.
In the meantime, it feels like, speaking of moving target and hurting people, that a lot of folks would like to put the Kansas City Chiefs on a driving range and have the Kansas City Chiefs have to avoid being bombarded with golf balls.
There's some real vitriol there.
I
don't understand.
I mean, I guess I kind of like, what is it that people? This is not. These are not like bad guys, right?
They don't seem like real. It's
not
villains.
a bunch of jerks. Yeah, I heard Dan Patrick mention this is not, and I remember, like the Oakland Raiders of the late 70s and 80s. Yes, they won one of their Super Bowls as the LA Raiders, but two of them as the Oakland Raiders. But like, that was kind of their shtick. That was their thing. Like they embraced being the bad guy, being the villain. Yeah. And they were good with it. And in a 8-year period, they won 3 Super Bowls. So they were good at it, man. Like but then they were good.
They had the characters to pull it off.
And they were good at football. I mean, when you win that many Super Bowls in a relatively short amount of time, you're doing something. Even like the bad boy Pistons when I was in high school, they embraced being the villain, and they won back-to-back titles. I can appreciate that. The Chiefs, I mean, like, Andy Reid, and he's like your grandpa, man. He's all big and fluffy teddy bear guy, and Patrick Mahomes, like, helps kids, and Travis Kelce and his brother, do cereal commercials, and I mean, it's like, what is it? I know they win a lot, but is that all it is? Like, they're not hateable. I don't. Maybe I just don't get it.
I think I figured out the distinction, and I think I figured out the distinction just now, Jay Phillips. They are not hateable; they're annoying.
Okay.
Because you know what? Personally, I've seen enough of the Kelce brothers. I've reached my personal fill.
Yeah.
I've reached my fill.
Yeah.
They're like the friends that you have that you can only take in spurts,
well,
right?
I told my wife
because they're
that
always so much and so extra all the time that you can only take them in spurts. And it's like, buddy, I love you, but I need a weekend to myself.
I think the Kelce brothers PR team does actually need to have a talk about just dialing it back just a touch. I think you can oversaturate quickly.
I'm tired. I am kind of tired of seeing their face on my TV.
The Taylor Swift angle. I know some people think, and again, like, look, they said, what was it that Taylor Swift has shown an average total of like 14 seconds a game or something.
Yeah.
And for the Super Bowl, it'll be a little bit more. But
how many people do you think would watch an isolated camera on Taylor Swift for the entire time? If you offered that as an alternate stream, so maybe put picture in picture on your broadcast, how many people would opt in to do that?
A couple million.
I would say more than that.
Around the country? Yeah, around the world? Yeah. Maybe my first thought was like 5 million, then I dialed it back. But like maybe 5 million.
I think 5 million actually might be number might be closer to 5 million than it is 2 million.
She's the biggest pop star on the planet. And again, if you don't like her, that's cool.
No one's making you.
But I threw one out too here. I wrote down on my notes. Is it jealousy? Do people just like, man, I wish I could dude.
Element of that. Yeah. There's an element of that because it's not just that they're winning games right now. It's how they're winning games. Like they have invested in some serious voodoo magic devil magic that they sprinkle in these games to pull some of them out, right? And a lot of that people will attribute to soft officiating or lack thereof on Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Or things of that nature, right? I winning games because like another team misses a field goal, right? Was it the game last year when they had to go to Buffalo and Tyler Bass missed a kick late? Like, there's a golden horseshoe shoved up their rear ends where like they get a lot of bounces, and you need those to win championships,
Right?
Because the New England Patriots in their dynasty,
Right.
significantly more hateable, by the way, had plenty of those golden horseshoe moments. Plenty of those. But I mean, once a team starts getting the like, we get the bounce because we're just that good.
I think the Patriots
People get annoyed.
I think the Patriots run was
Infinitely.
Infinitely more hateable.
Yes.
Than the Chiefs.
Despised.
And look, I'm a Broncos fan. I don't want the Chiefs doing well.
It's not in your best interest for the Chiefs to win another Super Bowl.
And it never has been. I mean, they're in my division. I don't want them to do it, but I just don't look at them as hateable. And again, I'm here for the story this year. So, and I'm not trying to sit here and tell you why you shouldn't feel anyway. I don't do that for people. You feel how you feel. That's fine. I may take issue with it, but I'm not going to tell you should feel differently. I just, for my own right, I can't, like you said, I just can't fathom like why people have this amount of vitriol toward them, because I don't think they've earned that. Look, like you and I talked about it this morning too with something else, but coming back to the Patriots, whatever you may believe about Deflategate and Spygate, the fact is they were involved in it, and that made people go like, "Oh, so you're cheating, huh?" I mean, the worst, if the worst you've got is that every couple of, a couple of times, Patrick Mahomes has kind of flopped.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean,
taking advantage of rules.
Yeah.
The fake running out of bounds thing and then going up the sideline a little bit more.
I mean, okay. But a lot of athletes do that. A lot of NBA players do that. A lot of soccer players do that, man. I mean, and look, how many guys are faking injuries? That's kind of a flop. I mean,
it's in the same vein.
It's not unique to him, but I don't get it. But if you're a hater, that's cool. We'll talk more about this next week. But I have an over-under already on Tay appearances during the Super Bowl, by the way.
If you bet on that, the number will call you.
I agree. Drive Around the SEC is next.
From the Midlands to the PD to the beach. The Game Network. Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. The Game TV.
Tell you what I hate is like when my air conditioning or heat goes out. I don't like that. I don't like being uncomfortable in my own home, and you don't either. And that's why you need to call AAA Heating and Air and make sure those things do not happen. If it's been a while since your system has been checked or serviced, AAA Heating and Air can get it done for you. 803-677-1500. Maybe you've been in your place a while and you're not quite sure how old that system is. Does it make a lot of noises? Is it also costing you more than you think it should? Well, then how about a brand new, more efficient system from AAA Heating and Air? $1,500 system buyback rebate on a new one. All right. 15-year parts and labor guarantee. Guaranteed to get you financed. No payments or interest for 12 months. 803-677-1500. Do what I've done. Bill Gunner, many of your friends and neighbors. Stay nice and comfortable with AAA Heating and Air.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. Drive into 25 in the Chevy of your dreams. I-26 at Harvest and lovechevy.com. Together, let's drive.
South Carolina Ballet presents Romeo and Juliet on February 8th at the Koger Center in Columbia. The greatest love story the world has ever known. Featuring live music by the South Carolina Ballet Orchestra, conducted by Scott Weiss. Tickets are available now. Visit KogerCenterForTheArts.com or call 803-251-2222. Hope and despair, tragedy and love. South Carolina Ballet's Romeo and Juliet.
I'm with Stephen Samuels of the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm. Stephen, what does true injuries, true lawyers really mean?
It means a lot. It means we help people with truly serious injuries, and our entire team will do whatever it takes to make it right. Even if your case is difficult, We have the resources and experience to go toe-to-toe with the big insurance companies. We've done this, and we've got you.
Samuels Reynolds. True Injuries, True Lawyers. 803-779-4000.
Now Taxes is using Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get your refund so you can do more with it right in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. See guaranteed details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Hardee's is adding the goodness of maple flavor to our menu with new maple biscuits drizzled in sweet icing or stacked with savory sausage. Plus, our new cherrywood smoked maple candied bacon is perfect on a breakfast biscuit, Frisco burger, or its own. For a sweet spot in your day, maple makes everything better at Hardee's. And now enjoy breakfast till noon every day. Available for a limited time at participating locations. Breakfast hours vary by location.
Got something to say?
Ring us up on the Love Chevy phone line.
At 803-404-6100. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 100.5 The Game in Florence. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
From the WIS Traffic Center, I'm Elijah Campbell with many accidents to get to that are causing some issues on the roadways, starting with a pair at Bush River Road, one near I-26, the other over at St. Andrews Road. We also have an accident on Forest Drive near Highway 12 and Percival Road, one on Highway 1 at Augusta Road at I-26, one on Highway 17 northbound over at Pendergrass Avenue, one on Highway 6 near Highway 602 and Platte Springs Road, I-26 eastbound after Piney Grove Road near Exit 104, Jessamine Road at US 1 and Augusta Road, Killian Road at Highway 555 at Faro Road, and lastly, one on Wise Ferry Road at Highway 378.
It's time for our drive around the SEC.
As they say in the Bayou, laissez la bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll. LSU sits on the throne of college football.
The Postgame Show with Jay Phillips and Elijah Campbell.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
It is Drive Around the SEC time on this Friday afternoon, early evening, wherever you might be. Appreciate you being with us. We are at Pro Swing on Forest Drive, right next door to Bonefish, across the street from Lowe's Foods. So if you're in the area, and a lot of you are, come by and say, hey, if you're wondering what's all the hubbub in that place, well, come see it, man. And we are packed in here right now. They've got liquid refreshment of many varieties and 4 bays of the Golf Zone simulators, and the inaugural Winter Classic is underway. Stephen Colwell, the general manager, told us that there are 2 morning slots left tomorrow morning.
Ooh.
So if you would like one,
just 2 left.
This is going to run through tomorrow night. All the other slots are full, but there are 2. And he said that he kind of held them back just to make sure. So if you would like them, hang on. I got a number. Hang on.
He's got a phone number.
803-528-1617. 528-1617. Or you can just come in here right now, and Steven or David or the staff can hook you up. 2 slots.
Because the sooner you get here, the easier it'll be for you to reserve that spot.
That's right. $150 to enter a 2-person team. You're going to play 9 holes, and winners get $1,000. You heard me right?
Pretty good.
You heard me right?
Pretty good.
And food from Bonefish, which is going fast, I might add.
It is.
You think
I've had to really show some restraint with that shrimp.
You know, eventually what they're going to have to do, man, is like there's a room back here. They just have to cut a little hole in the wall. Just have the Bonefish kitchen just reach that food through.
the Bonefish grill portal.
You know? But, yeah.
It's too close, man. Too close for comfort. Yeah. It's too good, too.
That's right. Well, you've had seconds, so good for you, son.
I did, yeah. And
that Bang Bang shrimp is...
It's phenomenal. And I wish you could have seen the look on my face in terms of, like, really pondering how much I should take.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the fact that you left some for the guests.
Yes, because you know
nice.
what? I would inhale that entire
believe
pan.
You. I believe you. They're bringing more.
I'm a shrimp fiend, man. Just in general.
Yeah, no, me too. In fact, I think we're doing a Beaufort stew tomorrow night. You know what that is?
I don't, but it sounds
Beaufort stew, low country boil. Some people call it. We call it Beaufort stew in South Carolina. Shrimp, sausage, potatoes, corn, and Old Bay or crab seasoning, whatever you want.
Oh, I love Old Bay.
Put it all in there together. Split it.
I use Old Bay to make my Cajun Alfredo.
Yeah. Old Bay is awesome.
It's the best.
So we're doing that tomorrow night. Very excited. Very excited. All right. Drive around the SEC. You actually have a breaking news story that involves the University of Tennessee.
Yeah, saw this on On3's Twitter feed. And here's kind of the lead of it. It's that the NCAA settles the NIL-driven lawsuit with Tennessee. For those who don't remember, Tennessee was getting investigated for the recruitment of Nico Iamaleava, including payments for a private plane to fly him to Knoxville using booster money. The NCAA deemed that as a no-no and was investigating the matter, and Tennessee, in retaliation, decided to sue them. And it turns out the NCAA, once again, and they don't lose in court. So they settled before they could lose in court. And I'll take this little excerpt here from the story. Quote, the decision sent ripples across college sports, allowing booster-funded NIL collectives to negotiate deals with high school and transfer portal recruits before commitments.
Huh.
So basically saying they can negotiate these deals while these players are either still in high school or before the ink is dry on their letters of intent, which I think we all knew happened anyway, or before even commitments.
All right, so
it basically legalizes things I think already happened.
Did they need to at least have signed with the school, you said? Or they could
previously?
So I
think previously that was the understanding.
So now,
but that's not that hadn't been happening anyway.
Right. So I mean, now they're just going to weigh offers.
Yeah.
The kids are.
Yep.
Okay.
Legally.
Yeah.
And because of that, because whenever Tennessee sued the NCAA,
right,
there was an automatic pause on all NIL investigations. Charlie Baker and basically ordered the pause of all of these NIL investigations. So from then on, you've been able to do this anyway. Now this just makes it legal and schools can't get investigated for it.
Man, we got to have a CBA, man. Got to have a CBA at some point. Well, that's settlement. So there you go. Again, this is what's going to keep happening. You just find something that's challengeable, take them to court.
They will either lose in court or they will settle.
Yeah, and you're going to settle in a good way for the plaintiff.
God, man, the money's got to be good for the attorneys for the NCAA, but it's got to be just a terrible ego job to just show up every day and get smacked.
Well, like I told you, I mean, we joked about it a couple of years ago, but what were the discussions when the board of directors, told the lawyers, whether it was in-house or out-of-house counsel, y'all go fight that thing. Now, listen, the Alcott case, I think we're probably gonna lose this one. We probably shouldn't take it to the Supreme Court. No, take it. Yeah, and then you get beat 9-0. What lawyers know? They know.
Yeah, they know. And the NCAA probably was like, we'll lose with that attitude.
You're right. They stood solely on principle, which I get. But you got to listen to your lawyer sometime. When your lawyer says, "Hey, listen, you're not going to win this case.
Because what you've been doing is illegal.
You're not going to win this case."
Yeah, we're not going to win this case with that attitude, Jay Phillips. Get your ass in that courtroom, and you win me this case.
Yeah. Anyway. All right, so continuing to drive around the SEC basketball again. We've talked about it earlier today. Carolina and A&M. It's a late one tomorrow night, 8:30 tip at CLA. A&M is 70-something% chance to win according to the BPI, the EBPI for tomorrow's game. 72.6% chance that they win. The EBPI says what?
I want to say 67.
Okay,
I'll go a little lower.
All right.
Well, because here's the thing. Texas A&M cannot shoot the ball.
Okay.
This is one of the worst shooting teams in all of college basketball. I mean, they should name them, instead of the Texas A&M Aggies, they should be the Masons, because those dudes are brick Masons out there. But you know what? They're still a really efficient offense because they grab offensive rebounds. Now, if there's anything South Carolina defensively has done exceptionally well, They do a lot of things well defensively, so I think they'll be able to force A&M into tough shots. But you got to keep them off the boards. For the love of God, you have to keep them off the boards, because if you mess around, you'll find out like Oklahoma did, where they gave up like 25 of those offensive rebounds to Texas A&M. A&M got a ton of second chance points. Like, there's not a team in college basketball that's that aggressive on the offensive glass. So if South Carolina can at least mitigate that, you're going to give yourself a good chance to win, because I think it will be relatively close. And that's a really tough defense. As long as you and this is the tall ask, limit turnovers, which is why I'm still giving Texas A&M a 60+% chance to win on the road, because I don't trust South Carolina to not turn the ball over.
South Carolina's been turning the ball over way too much.
I get their job.
We have 3 ranked games tomorrow. Ole Miss is hosting the number 1 Auburn, the Rebels number 23. That could be fun.
That could. I mean, I've slept on Ole Miss a lot this year, but they've grown on me. They're finally defending the same way, or the way a Chris Beard coach team defends.
Right.
Last year they were not very good on that end, and they took a lot of really bad mid-range jump shots that were oftentimes contested. Their shot selection's better. They stretch the floor a little better.
Right.
They play a little faster, and they're much better on defense. You know, this is Auburn on upset alert. So maybe give Auburn like a 52% chance of winning.
Let's see what the BPI says on that one real quick before we move on to the others. Well, I guess one gives Auburn 70.5% chance to win. So I'll see.
Don't sleep on Ole Miss in this one.
State hosts Missouri. That's number 20 Missouri at number 14 Mississippi State. So there's that one. And the big one in the SEC is actually the early game tomorrow, which again I wouldn't have done. But Florida number 5 at number 8 Tennessee. That's tomorrow at noon. We also have Vandy going to Oklahoma. Georgia goes to Alabama. Texas will be at LSU, and the return of John Calipari to Rupp Arena tomorrow night. That's a 9:00 tip on ESPN. Arkansas, just 1 win in conference play. I expect Kentucky to control this one. I don't know that there's the horses to run the race for John Calipari. And again, the story has now become how John Calipari is received.
And I will say that it will not be very well, because I think there's still a lot of toxicity. It was so toxic, man. And I think they got so tired of his shtick. And I agree with Joe. When we had Joe Rexrode on in the first hour, look, what he saved you from the Billy Gillespie era should be considered, you should be thankful for that. He should be well received, but I know exactly how that fan base is. Same fan base that thought the Mark Pope hire was terrible for giving him a chance. And look what he's done. So a little bit of gratitude.
I agree. I think he will get booed by some, but hopefully it's all right. But now we've got a reason to tune in at 9:00 tomorrow night to see what happens. Unless you're at the Carolina game, then you can find about it on your phone. That's our drive around the SEC, brought to you by Herndon Chevy. More from Pro Swing on Forest Drive when the post-game show returns.
107.5 The Game.
In Columbia.
100.5 The Game.
In Florence.
100.3 The Game.
In Myrtle Beach. The Game Network. Hey, paying for streaming? One more thing you got to stream and pay for? Well, the Game app is, wait for it, free.
It's free! It's free! It's free!
Yes, all you got to do is go to iTunes or Google Play and download the 107.5 The Game app and listen for nothing in all respects of the word. Nothing.
This is Zach Gelb of the Sports Minute, sponsored by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Please gamble responsibly. It's clear Jimmy Butler's time with the Heat is coming to an end. Now, where will Butler wind up? And there aren't many destinations that move the needle for me. One spot I would like for him, though, are the Milwaukee Bucks. Bobby Portis and Chris Middleton heading to Miami is fine. And making Jimmy Butler the third star in the Bucks behind Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard can boost Milwaukee's chances of winning another championship. I'm Zach Gelb.
What's up, football fans? BetMGM is giving you the chance to win up to $250,000 in bonus bet credits. It's all part of BetMGM's longest touchdown jackpot, where you could be able to split the grand prize with anyone else who bet on the longest touchdown of the week. Log into your BetMGM account today and opt into the promo. Then place an anytime touchdown wager of $10 or more on the player of your choice, up to one player per game. If your player scores the longest touchdown of the week, you'll win a share of the $250K in credits. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 years of age or older. This U.S. promotion Promotional offer not available in Mississippi, New York, Nevada. BetMGM's longest touchdown jackpot subject to rules. See BetMGM.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. For New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. Subject to eligibility requirements. Bonus bets are unrestricted rewards credits that expire in 7 days in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Right now at Wendy's, get 2 of these fave items for just $7. The spicier classic chicken sandwich, Dave's single, or 10-piece nugs. It's an incredible deal, but an insanely difficult choice. Do you go double chicky sando, both spicy and classic, 1 beefy and 1 chicky? Or maybe you go all in on one and go Nug Max. 2 faves for just $7? Gotta be Wendy's.
At participating Wendy's for a limited time only. Select a request 2 for $7 deal to redeem. Not valid in a combo or with saucy nugs. Single item at regular price. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
What does it feel like to file with TaxSlayer and get your guaranteed maximum refund? It feels like the last level of a video game, facing off against the final boss who stands between you and your refund.
All your refund has belonged to me.
Using the power of TaxSlayer like a secret power-up he doesn't see coming.
Only the most tax confident can defeat me.
Throwing your laptop at his video game face and watching him crumble into a giant pile of shiny coin tax refunds.
Oh, not fair. You use TaxSlayer.
Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9318. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9318. That's 800-575-9318. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The Postgame Show with Jay Phillips and Elijah Campbell.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
In 11 minutes in front of 6 o'clock Friday afternoon. Welcome back in. Final few minutes of the postgame show. Again, Carolina basketball tomorrow night. The guys against A&M. And then Sunday, Dawn Staley's women's team taking on Auburn. And in that one, Carolina will be retiring Asia Wilson's jersey. She was good.
Yeah.
She was good.
I don't even think we could say was. She is.
She is good. Yeah, but
she was good for the Gamecocks.
She was a good basketball player.
Because you know what I know, Jay? Bad players don't get statues of themselves in front of the arena.
And of course, I exaggerate there, a little sarcasm. She was phenomenal, man.
She's also now the best player on the planet.
On the planet.
Yeah.
On the planet.
Best player in the world.
And she's from here. That's what's cooler.
That's the best part.
That's the best part. She's from here, you know.
As Columbia, South Carolina as it gets.
Yeah. So that's all right. That happens on Sunday, and that's obviously a sold out game. Final few minutes of the program for the week, and Stephen Colwell is back with us here, general manager of Pro Swing. And again, this place is hopping now, man. But couple of slots left for the morning. We talked about that. Now, for those who aren't coming by in the morning or aren't involved in the inaugural Winter Classic, you can come in and just play, or you can become a member, and there's some extra perks. So how do people?
So we charge for by the hour for the bay. So it's not per person like you rent your bay for your party for the hour. The memberships are essentially just going to get you discounted rates. So anything from our base tier, which gets you, a little bit of a discount per hour. And then we have an unlimited membership as well that gets you free hours during the month. So kind of like you would have at a normal country club, you pay your monthly dues up front, and then you pay like your green fees each time you come. So it's essentially how it works. So you can check that out on the website, or you can always call with questions about, what those memberships look like, how many are still available, because we do have a limited number of those. Obviously, we have 4 bays, but you can tell the demand is pretty high.
Yes.
So we want to make sure if somebody's paying to be a member that they have availability to come play.
Yeah.
Right. So
no, and again, it's hopping, and you're about to get even busier here in the next about 45 minutes, aren't you?
Yeah, I've got one more tea time that's coming in here shortly, and then once these guys are done, I've got all 4 bays booked up again through the end of the evening.
Yeah.
So it's going to be. I mean, we've had a great turnout so far. We're super excited on how.
What's the website?
We're going. ProSwingColumbia.com.
Okay, that's what. ProSwingColumbia.com.
That'll take you to the landing page, and when you get a book, it'll ask you to select which one of the 2 locations that you are trying to book.
There you go. Again, this place is a lot of fun. And again, earlier Elijah saw me. I get roughly. I'm gonna round up because I can.
It makes it easier.
Yeah, and say
rounder
that,
numbers are
and
easier.
say that 16% of my drives on the driving range today were measured as excellent.
That's right.
By the computer. Again, not by me.
And then an extra 5% as nice.
Nice. And then a few more that would have also probably been in the fairway.
They would have been in the fairway. They just weren't excellent
or nice.
Playable.
But I only had one that was terrible. Yeah, I only had one that veered a little, and it was my last one. It was time to go. I didn't pay attention. And
ripping it and ripping it.
It kind of sliced off to the right. Yeah, it wasn't so bad. But as Elijah said, I didn't have, or did you say I didn't have to go find it? What are y'all told me?
You didn't have to chase it. That's right.
I didn't have to go find it. But it's fun. And again, if you're a casual duffer, or if you take it seriously, come into this place and see on the range, on the course, every shot is measured, your club speed, your spin rate, your launch angles, and it'll show it to you. There's video. It's measured like with a bunch of different cameras and lasers, and it's pretty phenomenal, man.
Yeah, the information that you can get can help your game tremendously if like you said, if you take this seriously, and if you don't, it's a lot of fun anyway.
Yeah, and if it's not, then you and your buddies could just say, "Who's got the fastest club head speed?" Right?
Exactly.
I mean,
try to see who can just swing the club
who
the
can hit it.
hardest.
I mean, like when Tyler Thigpen was in here, man, I'm like, my God, that man can swing a golf
I don't
club.
swing 120 some miles.
He rips it. But he played in the NFL. He's a big, strong athlete.
We're gonna try to get him back out here tomorrow.
I think I had one that went over 100. Other than that, I was probably like mid to high 90s for most of them.
That's respectable.
That's not bad. I hadn't swung a golf club in 5 weeks, so I got to get back at it. But y'all are going to get tired of me here real soon.
Well, I doubt that. We appreciate you being out here.
No, it's fun. I mean, obviously I've known the boys a long time, and now I've gotten to know you for the last couple of years. But this place is, and you had fun.
It's
last
so
week,
much
man.
fun. I swung out of my shoes.
Yeah.
Like 30, 40 hacks at it, man. I was having a blast.
I mean, I could see you and your buddies coming here and doing what we were talking about.
Next year's guys weekend.
Yeah.
We'll absolutely, start out here.
I had a guy come in a minute ago asking if he could rent the place out. Obviously, we can work with folks on getting groups like that together to have their events or parties.
ProSwingColumbia.com. Again, we're on Forest Drive, right by Bonefish, across the street from Lowe's Foods. The inaugural Winter Classic underway, but they're here 7 days a week, and this place is a lot of fun. Thanks, man.
Yes, thank you very much.
Stephen
Thank you for being here.
Colwell.
Appreciate you guys.
it. Ed Bird, great job this week. As always, sir, we appreciate you. Thanks to Joe Rexroad, too. Haley's out here making sure we did good. Y'all have a safe and enjoyable weekend. We'll see you on Monday.
1075 The Game. Broadcasting live from the